Comic Timing is a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network.
Welcome to episode 200 of Comic Timing, a comics podcast devoted to the average comic book fan from the average comic book fan. Never mind, it's 201. Joining as Brent Casino, rotating guests, and myself, Ian Levesine, discuss whatever comes to mind time after time here on Comic Timing. First episode of 2020, because as usual, we are timely as hell. And we're literally going to discuss everything on this episode. DiDio, Watchmen, Marvel stuff, other things, coronavirus, whatever we feel like. Here now, Comic Timing. Hey there, folks. My name is Ian Levesine, and welcome to episode 201 of Comic Timing. We are back in the virtual studio yet again. Brent Casino returns. Casino, what up?
I never went away.
You've been sitting here this entire time?
It's been 5 months. I've been waiting for you to start the Skype conversation. What the hell? I missed a whole lot of work for this.
You've seriously been just sitting at the... Oh, my God, man. Man, you were supposed to be in, like, Japan and shit. Like, what the hell?
I dropped you off back at, Martha's mom's house and drove home and got on Skype like we said we were, and it's been a while.
Oh, my God. Donovan, have you been waiting that long, too?
I have. I've grown and aged, and I'm all hairy and smelly now. So I hope you're happy.
Oh, so like an average comic book fan. Okay, all right. And oh, I don't mean it. We love you guys. We swear, we love you. Raph. Oh my God, Raph is there, and he's on his own microphone. What?
Yeah, and when you guys recorded 100, I think I was in the hospital.
Yeah. You mean 200?
No, 100 because it's the same thing. No, yeah, I was in the hospital when you guys recorded 200.
I'm pretty sure that was the case. Yeah, because that was that weekend, wasn't it? Oh man,
it probably was because you guys shouted it out on the episode. Because I finished listening to the episode a while ago.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you unaware, Raph Suhu has a new kidney and a new podcast, and we'll get both. We'll get more into those later on. And Brandon Christopher's here as well.
I've been waiting this whole time.
I'm just imagining you with like curled toenails and like a...
I haven't showered since last October when I was on.
# onion breath.
I now have the old man beard and disheveled hair.
So nothing's changed.
I mean, I would have hair now, so yes.
Yeah, right, exactly. Hey, I've been looking at some old photos lately, man. I remember what you used to look like with hair. It wasn't that different.
Oh boy.
Oh God, I know. So weird.
It's not as
we
weird.
all look so young.
Oh my God,
compared
please.
to now.
Baby-faced.
That one picture of the three of us from MegaCon, like I look at it and I don't have a beard. Brent is way skinnier. Raph has more hair. Brandon has hair.
I have a hairline, I know, right?
Yeah.
Sweet baby cheeses.
I don't
Donovan wasn't even born yet.
No, he wasn't actually. Yeah, he was just a dream on his mother's mind, and then before we knew it, there he was. But
Fully formed.
You knew it.
Like a beholder.
Good times. Well, we're back. It's even though it's 2020 and it's been a while, we are indeed back. And first of all, I'd like to thank those people who have actually been commenting on the blog over the past couple of months because I was.
You're welcome.
Yes, it wasn't you actually. Surprisingly,
I know.
Yeah, we had a comment from Laura Smith on our Joker episode, so I'd like to thank her for that, and also a Daniel Souter commented on episode 195, our St. Mark's episode, saying that we all have very good radio personalities, and it keeps the listener engaged. So I very much like to thank him for that. But
Better
make it
keep
so.
the podcasters engaged.
yeah. I now pronounce you podcaster and wife. You may kiss the audience.
Consent first, though. Consent first.
Also,
clear.
coronavirus. You gotta be careful.
You know what? Let's just start off with that, since it's what's on the minds of a lot of people right now, and it's affecting the comic book scene in certain ways. It hasn't affected distribution yet, but I do wonder specifically with stuff that's printed out of China if it may actually affect the distribution line a little bit over the next couple of months. We're just going to have to wait.
That's only trades, I think, and not all trades.
Okay.
Kickstarter, it's not going to affect Diamond's related stuff because it's mostly printed in Canada.
Right.
It's going to affect Kickstarters, though.
Okay. All right. Well, that and probably and just in general, like independent published comics may have to affect that, because I know that I know back in the day, Comfort and Atom were getting some stuff out of China. I think they've changed their distribution line since then, but some independent creators.
Yeah, basically, if you're you're a smaller publisher or self-publishing, you might have some problems, but it shouldn't be. It's not going to be as big a deal as, say, Terrace were for board games,
right?
But it could be a problem.
Well, what do we think about Emerald City Comic Con? As earlier last week, it looked like it was still going to happen, and then it was officially announced that Emerald City Comic Con is being postponed nebulously until the summer. They didn't actually give a date, which makes me think it might just wind up being canceled entirely for this year. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see.
Did they issue refunds for the creators and anybody who had tickets or whatever?
They issued refunds specifically for people with tickets. I am uncertain about retailer refunds, but I would assume that has to happen.
That would be pretty shitty if they didn't do it and just said, "Oh, it's postponed, so your money's still good. We're gonna keep it."
And that,
I know it's kind of out of everyone's control, so it is unfortunate all around.
It's unfortunate all around, especially for people who weren't able to get travel refunds, because that's the most important problem here. Like, even if Emerald City does give refunds to everybody, there's people who have non-refundable hotel rooms or non-refundable plane tickets that, unless the plane gets waived or the hotel room gets waived. Hotel rooms are the biggest problem because those are giant pains in the ass to cancel. You can maybe get some leeway with flights, but I know that some creators were mentioning that they were going to still go to the Seattle area, and possibly have like a smaller convention, like in a hotel or something like that, if they can get it, just to basically hawk their wares. Because even those who are getting refunds, like, this is a lot of money lost for for people who were probably relying on this early March income ladder for creators. Donovan, what do you think, man? I mean, like, how do you think this is going to affect creators? And I mean, for one thing, like, do you think there's going to be other cons that are going to be affected by this?
Well, my first thought was kind of immediately to STCC, which is like my regular go-to.
Right.
But what I was going to add, I mean, I really don't know. I honestly, I'm not sure. But what I was going to ask is, like, do you think this was like the smart, responsible thing, or do you think that this is sort of like, if this was the case, they should be kind of like postponing a lot of other kind of crowded arenas, like later on down the line. Like, there was supposed to be like a debate tonight.
Yes, there was.
That was postponed.
Yeah, there was a debate that was postponed. South by Southwest has been postponed.
GDC
Coachella
got canceled.
GDC, Coachella.
The rumor is E3
right.
is going to be canceled, and that's in June.
Ooh, yeah, that one's.
So what does that say about San Diego? Also,
that's a really good question. I mean, I was on the cusp. I attended PAX East just last week. I think it was like just at the right time. Like, Corona hadn't really spread that much in the United States, so they were able to still go forward with it. And same with C2E2. It was that exact same weekend.
Actually, that's funny because Midtown was going to do their first booth at C2E2, and they brought in 3 artists. 2 of them from Italy, 1 from South Korea.
Oh, wow.
And they all got canceled because they're in quarantine zones.
Ah, that sucks.
So Midtown didn't end up going.
Yeah. And Sony pulled out of PAX East before it started. And it was very noticeable on the floor. Like, there were giant gaps in the aisle where Sony was going to be. Like, they did their best to try to.
You could actually walk?
Yeah, I know. What a shock, right? They were supposed to be pretty much like right next to Nintendo. Like, Nintendo had a big setup for Animal Crossing, and they premiered the new game on there for the first time. But because that was NOA and not Japanese Nintendo, they were able to still go forward. But Sony was bringing a lot of people from Japan. So it just made more sense for them to straight up cancel. They have a lot less of a North America presence, I feel like, than Nintendo does when it comes to creators. This is just going to continue, I have a feeling. Like, other than like the small cons, like, I would not be shocked if there's some cons that are supposed to be happening in June or July that wind up still affected by this.
We have Middle Tennessee Anime Con in April, and so far as I know, all full steam ahead on that. But, like, I don't know, there could be like last minute delays or even cancellations for that.
Yeah. I mean, as of now, I know Anime Next is still on for June 12th to 14th. I usually run panels there, but I'm certainly going to be a little bit wary since it's Atlantic City, and it could be anything. So,
I mean, you're already in Jersey; it's bad enough.
What were you going to say, Brent?
Changed my flight. I'm supposed to go to Japan on Sunday, and I was going to change it to. I was supposed to go through San Francisco, and I went, let's not do that just in case. I know it's overreacting, but we actually made the decision to cancel the trip altogether.
Oh wow!
So.
Well,
I've been a lot more than just cons are getting canceled.
Please, man, yeah, no, I mean, I'm working part time for Engadget now, and even before South by Southwest was canceled, it came up from up high, like, that we weren't going to attend South by Southwest, and that's one of the biggest places to report on technology and entertainment. Period. And it's Austin's biggest boom. Like Donovan. I mean, like what you were saying about San Diego. Like, it's not even just the fact that like you hope San Diego Comic-Con doesn't get canceled. It is the biggest moneymaker for the city of San Diego, and
that's right.
And that's what South by Southwest is for Austin. So if they don't reschedule that, there's a huge hole in the city economy there, and it's going to affect not just creators, but the city in general. It's messed up, man.
The times we're living in are freaking crazy.
Yeah,
a hell of a way to start the new decade. But like, because I've not been aware of any. You guys are a little older than I am. I'm not been familiar with anything like this ever before. I know there's a few years there was like a little bit of an Ebola scare.
Yeah. But
like, this is like a real like contagion that, because like we had our first kind of like coronavirus contraction in Tennessee earlier this week. It's not necessarily near me exactly, but it's not terribly far.
Yeah. And
you see places like there are a lot of like places which I was taking my mom to a doctor's appointment today, and like there was a sanitizer dispenser that's out because people keep on using it, and there's all these different health code regulations for restaurants and stuff. I mean, this is a real, and I hear that like Italy has completely shut it. South Korea is on its way there. So it's like, the next Bond film has been delayed several months. What you say about the economy is a really interesting thing. These are things that like I never would have necessarily expected. You immediately think of the health risks, but in terms of like just the fear of the spreading of the disease, not so much the disease, but just like kind of like the predicative sort of preparational impact of it. It's really wild, and the conventions were something I kind of thought about last, but like once I heard of Emerald City Comic Con, it's like, oh man, this is going to be the beginning. Yeah. And because I don't know if anybody has any like scope of how long this would kind of play itself out. I don't know if anybody does.
I mean, it could be years, honestly.
Well, the thing is, so as the one person who has to pay attention to this stuff,
one or two, thank you.
Coronavirus is not lethal to the average person. Right. It's just slightly worse than average flu. Mm-hmm. Right. It is lethal to the elderly and anyone who is immunocompromised, which, hello, got a new kidney. Means yeah. I see, this is why I was waiting for the bionic kidney, because I didn't want to be immunocompromised.
Bionic kidney. Ooh.
But here we are. So yeah, there was a test run going on last time I checked in 2018. But it hasn't come to market yet, so get the kidney now, or wait for something that may or may not come in my lifetime.
Yeah, I still think you made the right choice there, Chief.
Yeah, I did. It's just you got a new kidney. Oh look, let's give you a contagion.
Yeah,
cool. Thanks, Planet.
Well,
thanks,
dude.
Yeah, I mean, this is to answer your question. This is going to last, I think, a couple of years at least. This may be the whole new. Every year there's the cold and flu virus. Now it may be now going forward. This is going to be your cold, flu, and corona season, unfortunately. Well, and it's just like Rap said, it's more prevalent to be harmful to elderly, young, and immunocompromised. Those who are not weathered enough or not seasoned enough.
Actually, it's not attacking young people.
I mean, I don't mean young. I mean like infantile young. I mean like babies.
Right, yeah.
Things
I saw there was a news report about like the coronavirus is killing off the elderly but not the children, and it's like, sounds about right.
Yeah, because children
it hates boomers.
Yeah.
Well, the closest
Children have a higher working immune system than elderly. And look, I have 2 immunocompromised family members also, so I have to be aware of this as well. This is going to be not so much a standard going forward, but I mean, look at SARS. SARS was around for what, 2 or 3 years before it officially died out. Then there was swine flu, which still is around, but not as prevalent.
I was thinking about swine flu because I was working for Pokemon when swine flu was out, and I remember like the scare of like if anybody coughed or sneezed in an office, people were immediately petrified.
Yeah, and there is the lack of information, the lack of clarity coming out of a lot of major health organizations is not helpful, unfortunately. And a lot of people are relying on news, which is using a lot of speculation, and some news is trying to get more information out, which is more credible. But again, I think a lot of cons are erring on the side of caution, where they would rather shut down for 6 months and hopefully have this all blow over and to have a boom. It's going to suck right now.
Oh yeah.
Honestly.
Well, I mean,
the market,
and frankly, I'd rather them be precautionary than wind up accidentally having like a Paxpox scenario,
right?
And things breaking out and wind up spreading it even further.
Yeah, and look at the market. The market is going crazy. Last week, the market for the second week in a row lost over 1,000 points, which is a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, the president said otherwise.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people don't know how to take this because you don't know what the effects are going to be just yet.
Right.
This could be long-lasting ramifications. This could be short-term ramifications. We don't know 100% yet. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'd rather have them be cautious and be safe than, be irresponsible and have your con and have this congregation of thousands of people in one small area, and then have an epidemic as it spreads out even further.
Yeah. And one thing that I'll say is that for anybody who was planning on, say like for instance, getting commissions from their favorite artists or looking to purchase things from their favorite creators at a convention that was supposed to be happening over the next couple of weeks, if it does happen to get canceled like Emerald City Comic Con did, or any other conventions for that matter, reach out to those creators. They most of them have online presences of one way or the other, and a bunch of creators are doing like quote unquote online convention appearances in order to pay their bills. So if you were looking to get a commission from somebody, or you were looking to purchase art from somebody or a comic directly from a certain individual, don't be afraid to reach out to them, and you can go ahead and still spend your money that you would have been spending at the convention itself, and basically keep those creators afloat.
Yeah, what are Adam Hughes and J. Scott Campbell going to do for money?
They're going to like open up their money vault like Scrooge McDuck and just swim around in it.
More covers.
Light their cigars with $100 bills.
Yeah.
Greg Horn.
Yeah.
More exclusive covers.
Horn face, what?
Hey, you know what? I will say, Greg Horn was at MegaCon last year in 2019, and me and Jim walked by his booth.
Yeah.
And he had a whole lot of just like weird, random custom stuff that would apply to con goers, not just the old Secret Invasion Marvel covers and stuff he did 10 years ago. So, he's tapping into a market, so he must be doing something right for him.
I've seen Greg Horn in a minute. It doesn't feel like.
Greg Horn just survives on what he has done 10 years ago. And he doesn't really have to do much else because he's Greg Horn.
Fair enough.
He does the occasional cover.
Horn.
Yeah, he does. He does. You're right. That's true. He does do the occasional cover, but he still, has enough of a body of work to work off of that he can, basically just resell the same prints over and over again and be fine.
Yeah, pretty much. He updates his prints every now and then, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
Well, going from one, calamity to another.
Which one?
All bad news.
So how about that DC Comics, huh?
Oh God.
Oh boy.
I've got thoughts.
Things have changed since the Fire Nation attacked, and
That reference.
And Dan DiDio is officially no longer working for DC Comics. This happened about a month ago at this point, but it's still fresh on the minds of comic fans throughout the industry and creators throughout the industry.
But that's because Marvel's buying them, right? That's what I saw online.
If DiDio finds the Avatar and brings him back to the Fire Lord, he'll get his position back.
You know what?
So to deal with Uncle Iroh, what?
No, he's Zuko.
Oh, God.
So he's Dev Patel?
The Variant Edition YouTube channel did a whole segment on whether or not Marvel's going to buy DC, and I was like, you guys are smarter than this. You're going into the clickbait.
Oh, God.
Variant.
Really?
You know what kills me though? Like at that Dan DiDio and Jim Lee panel that was apparently just Jim Lee, his like response to like those rumors to me was really not definitive enough.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, well, there's no plans at this time, and we certainly tell you. It's like you're supposed to say no. It's a ridiculous idea.
Here's the thing. So it's totally possible that AT&T can go to Disney and go, hey, listen, we don't want to make comics anymore. Can you get your like Marvel kids to do it or whatever? And Disney goes, sure, pay us, we'll work out some sort of payment thing. The thing is, that's possible.
Yeah.
What's not possible is AT&T going, hey, Disney, do you want this treasure trove of characters that are worth billions of dollars and we'll just sell it to you?
Yeah.
That's fucking impossible.
Exactly.
And you are out of your mind or completely ignorant of how intellectual property works if you think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
and I don't give a shit if I've hurt anybody's feelings.
I was trying to explain it to Jim because he asked me, my buddy Jim asked me if that was true or not, and I was like, no, the Batman and Superman licenses are worth too much money. He's like, yeah, but they're not making any movies. I'm like, Jim, we're not talking about movies. We're talking about cereal boxes and T-shirts and toys,
kids' toys,
posters,
that is the equivalent. That is the equivalent of Pepsi selling the Pepsi formula to Coke.
Yeah,
it is never going to fucking happen.
Yeah, which is hilarious because let's go back to the late 70s, early 80s, and one of my favorite blog posts by Jim Shooter discusses just how close Marvel came to making DC Comics.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that story before.
Yeah, that there was supposed to be a licensing agreement. Just a licensing agreement. They were not selling the properties to Marvel. That Marvel would just go ahead and make Superman, Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Justice League, that they would basically just be making the DC Comics. This is not WWF buying WCW. Like this is not that scenario.
It's like what Star Wars does with their comics,
yes,
or even what Marvel does with their kids line, because
exactly.
IDW prints their kids comics,
right? And there's Marvel comics, yeah, exactly. There's Marvel comics that are printed by IDW and so forth, and there's like Treasury editions that are made by other companies. Like it's just a farming out scenario, but I just think it's so left field, especially when fucking Cosmic Book News' source, their quote-unquote source, was one person, Ethan Van Sciver.
Oh, man.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Ethan Van Sciver knows anything about the comic industry at this point.
Yeah.
Like, inside news, you are out of your goddamn mind.
Exactly.
He was wailing that DC was dead when Dan DiDio was kicked out. He's like, this is the end of DC! And I was like...
So was Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, he was. And frankly,
Rob was celebrating.
I expected better from Rob Liefeld. And those are words that just came out of my mouth.
You were? You were? You really were.
Clips for future use.
Yeah, no, honestly, Brandon, yes, I was. Because even though Rob Liefeld is a character, to say the least, I've always considered him a professional.
Look,
I remembered how salty he was during the New 52 about Hawkman. I remember he was furious.
Yeah.
So all that came back when he was like kind of like waving the flag when DiDio left.
No, here's one thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, Rob Liefeld is doing his massive heel turn right now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is all it's been.
Yeah.
Ever since he started doing his little video blogs where he started ranting upon one little thing at a time, I'm like, this is a fucking heel turn. So when he did this thing, I'm like, it doesn't surprise me at all. I don't think he really even cares one way or another. This is just his now new shtick.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect.
Yeah, because he saw
Ethan
Van Sciver is making money off of Indiegogo, and he's like, hey, I could do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Plus, he's not doing full comicsgate. He's just being a dick.
Right.
So
Right.
he can get away with it,
and-
whereas Ethan is out of his goddamn mind and he needs
Hey,
help.
you know
He
what?
needs
Let me promise this book. I'll promise it for 4 or 5 years, and you guys just pay me the money, and you'll never get the book.
The Cyberfrog hasn't come out yet.
No, it's come out.
Yeah,
It came
Cyberpunk
out,
came out finally.
a couple of months ago. And
Yeah.
it was a bunch of them were damaged, waterlogged, I think, or
Siri
something.
hot garbage.
Yeah.
And you know
You know
what?
Is that the Alex Jones of the comics world?
Yeah, and frankly, at this point, like I've matured as a human being, or at least I think so, since we started doing this show. Because I used to shit on Liefeld just wholeheartedly, or shit on people, just because I didn't like their work. And I don't like doing that anymore because I'm fucking 36 years old. Like
God, we're fucking old.
Yeah,
You
we
old
are.
man, you.
We are.
You
I've been
old
podcasting
fucking
since
man.
I was in my early
Fuck.
20s, and now I'm 36 years old. Like that says something. But at the same time, EVS can go ahead and do his shit. Like he wants to make money off of idiots. Go ahead. He wants to go ahead and make money off of.
It's the American way.
It's exactly. It's the American way, and he's found a way to do that, and he's enjoying it. But at the same time, to blatantly spread false and stupid rumors like that, just to try and boost your own base and to try and get people in a frenzy, is just beyond idiotic.
Yeah.
It's just it makes no goddamn sense to me. But at the same time, of course, it makes sense to him because he's got more people saying his name.
America.
Yeah, that's it.
Ready for another lesson?
I have something.
DC Comics.
Brandon, don't be afraid to speak. Go ahead.
You know what? No, I disagree with that. Even Van Sciver can go fuck himself with the biggest, dirtiest, foulest fucking dildo ever.
Hey, shh.
That's fine.
My one print and commission are can hear you.
Okay, no, that's not the Ethan Van Sciver that we knew.
No,
okay?
I know.
This is
He
the
was so
Ethan Van
different.
Sciver who is now profiteering off of misogyny.
It's not the Van Sciver that Gail Simone was friends with.
Right, and I don't. He can make all the money he fucking wants. I don't care about him
Did you
anymore.
guys see that video he made about that Rose Tico doll?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is insane.
Yeah. No,
He
he
is.
He's lost his goddamn mind.
He is.
And you know what? Anybody
Or
who
he's
follows-
doing a really good job of making you think he is.
Making the Alex Jones comparison is actually really fitting.
It is.
Because
And the thing is, Alex Jones does make money.
yes, he does.
So,
and so does what's his face, the guy who used to be on Fox News, the one who would
I know you're talking about Glenn Beck.
Glenn Beck. Thank you. Yeah. In fact, that's probably closer to what I would compare him to as a Glenn Beck.
or Rush Limbaugh.
I met
Or
him.
Rush Limbaugh.
The guy who said that Miles Morales was meant to be Obama in a Spider-Man costume.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Oh, lordy.
you met Glenn Beck?
I've never told the story?
No, you
No.
never did.
Okay,
You let him live.
let's turn back the clock. It's the year that JMS did Superman, right? So it's
7.
2011. It's right before New 52.
Oh, okay,
So
right, yeah.
it's a Saturday. I'm at Midtown Comics. I'm working, and I think not too long before that, Glenn Beck had gone on a rant on Fox News about someone on Fox News had gone on a rant about how Superman had just rescinded his citizenship and how it's un-American and Superman would never do that. So I am helping a kid with a book, and his dad comes along, and it's Glenn Beck. I look right at him, and usually I'm a little unsure about recognizing people on TV. I've recognized them instantly. And so, we were talking about that, and I think he was the one that made the rant about Superman, because I pointedly explained to him what was the point of that story. Mm-hmm. Just to be no, this is what he did, this is why he did it. And, he started doing his Glenn Beck thing. He legit started tearing up and everything, and I'm like, That's not a gimmick. You really do that. You just cry randomly at things.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So-
This has definitely been around Glenn Beck's heyday when he was like in the news.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
like, chalkboard Glenn Beck.
Yeah,
like, this is when he was still on Fox News.
Around the time that Jon Stewart did the best impersonation of anyone.
Oh my God, I
Oh my
love those.
God.
I love those so much. But yeah, that was what, 8 years? God, it was 8 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's when I met Glenn Beck. So I have met Glenn Beck.
But
I'm not proud of it. It's just
Man,
something that happened in my life.
well, let's bring things back around to Didio, and the fact that whether you like the dude or not, whether you agreed with what he did or not, whether you hoped he would get fired or not,
Go on.
you have to appreciate the fact that this man, he was a passionate motherfucker. I feel like I'm talking like he's dead. Like he's always been a passionate guy, and he, under his reign at DC put out some of my favorite books of all time. Not everything was great.
All time.
Not everything was great, but under his reign, we got JSA. We got Infinite Crisis. We got Final Crisis, Multiversity. We got Snyder's Batman run. We got
All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder.
not going to mention that.
Identity Crisis.
Identity Crisis. So many
Countdown to Final Crisis.
Oh my
It was a
God!
crisis.
Wow, you're doing a really good job of completely getting rid of my point, man. But
I know I love Dan. I love Dan.
I
I'm
know.
just being.
I know.
I'm just being me.
But you could say the same damn thing about Casada. That
Yeah, you totally could.
And I have.
and we all have that for as many positives as there are, there's negatives. But this
One
is
more day.
This is a guy who went out there. I don't know what you're talking about, Raph. That never happened. Who just went out there and basically put himself on the line for the comic book industry and protected a lot of the people who worked for DC too, because that's what I've heard about Dan, is that he's the type of person who would, go to bat for people.
Wait a minute.
when
What
they
about the
needed
creator rights that Conway was talking about a few years ago? Wasn't Dan behind when that went away?
That was not just Dan.
No, it was not Dan.
That
it
was
also,
he was overridden by Warner Brothers.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
That was much more. In fact, honestly, I heard the opposite, Donovan. I actually heard that he was doing his best to try and keep those rights, and basically Warner Brothers was like, no, we lost enough from the Vertigo contracts that were
Yeah, it's part of that Vertigo thing. So.
yeah that we're reversing things. I could be entirely wrong, and if I am, then I am. But from
Fair
what,
enough. I don't believe that Dan Didio was just like that an out and out like bad guy towards his.
Yeah.
I just didn't know, but like I do remember that happening.
but just in the end, we just have to appreciate what he was there for, and the people that he helped bring to DC Comics and what he tried to do, even if not all of it worked, like the New 52, which was mostly trash, but so be it.
All right.
Didio was like the P.T. Barnum of comic books, honestly. And I think he was such a great hype man for the books that he put out. Like, I honestly, I loved going to his panels.
No question.
Because you could, you could, all right, so the year we went to MegaCon, right?
Yeah.
And it was him and Palmiotti, and they just fucking roasted us
Yep.
from the panel.
Yeah.
Like, he had that passion where he could talk to you as a fan. And I remember talking to him I bumped into him randomly at New York Comic Con one year.
Yeah.
And he kind of remembered me from MegaCon earlier that year. I'm like, but the passion that he had as a creator, and the fact that he actually would go to bat for those weird books just to see how it'll sell.
Oh yeah. And
Like,
Oh man,
52 should not have worked at all.
And he didn't like it, right?
Wednesday Comics.
he didn't like it,
Yeah, Wednesday Comics.
but he backed it for it. Yeah.
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 Stuff like Wednesday Comics would never happen without the Dio.
Right. The thing is,
He liked it because they did 4 more weekly series after that.
Yes.
He liked
Yeah.
the sales.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but here's the thing: like he knew where his bread was, or how his bread was buttered, and he would not interfere with the writers on that front.
Right.
That's what I respect from him about that. Like,
Yeah.
he had his editorial mandates, sure.
Mhm.
I mean, you want to do this, you want to do that. You want to, like, you're a manager. You have to show direction somehow, and I get
Absolutely.
that. And not all direction is going to work.
Yeah. And
But
So yeah, no, go ahead, Brandon.
But when you let your workers work for you, all right, and you work with them, you get great stuff.
Right.
You get Blackest Night. You get Rebirth, Green Lantern.
Yeah.
You get Identity Crisis. You get Infinite Crisis. He had the highest highs I've seen
I
in a
didn't read
long
that
time.
Blackest Night was a high, but
Disagree. I think
You don't like
Blackest Night-
Blackest Night?
I liked it a lot when it was out. Hindsight is like there's a lot of like poisonous attributes that I saw kind of the whole of this work, but at the time I loved it.
The only thing I didn't like
I think
about Blackest Night was it did the thing where you had to read Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps, basically, and it was like, then they collect it, and they're like, the whole event is here. I'm like, no, it's not. You're missing Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it's also
You're not
stained by the
doing the story.
aftermath.
That's
Because
that's
the
fair
aftermath
enough.
wasn't as strong as the lead up to Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Oh, Brightest Day.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
aftermath was botched. There was a lot of like characters that just never came back, like Garth.
Yeah.
Brightest
Yeah.
Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Something went wrong in the planning for Brightest Day and the execution of Brightest Day. You could tell that because like there was a lot of disjointed story there. And
Wasn't it late also, too?
It was late, yes.
So I thought, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like there was definitely like some back and forth there that didn't quite work. But going off of what you just said, Brandon, exactly what you said is also probably one of the reasons why he got fired. Because one
We don't know it yet, right?
well, we don't know yet. We're probably not going to know for the next 5 years. Like, no joke. Like, it would not surprise me if the DO does not openly discuss this until long after he's gone and he's got himself a new job somewhere else. Because he doesn't want to throw people under the bus that he's friends with, and he doesn't want to, jeopardize anything else that's happening over at DC. Because I don't think he has really any ill will towards the creators of DC. I think he's got
or the company.
Yeah,
It's
or the
it's the
company.
people above him.
Exactly.
WB.
Also, I think he's locked down by NDAs as well. So
That's-
NDAs
that's-
every time
Oh,
release.
sure, yeah, he's locked down.
But
So
Fucking mouth shut.
hold on, Raph. Let me finish.
Yeah.
This con season would have been good for Bleeding Cool to find out why he was
Yes.
fired, but
You're
that
right.
may not happen anymore.
Yeah, they found out a little bit at C2E2, and that's actually what I was getting to is that, working with creators is what I felt like was his downfall because he was very, very in on this 5G initiative, and it did not seem like the creators around him nor the editors around him were in with him, and he was not listening to them. And I think that was probably the nail in the coffin, because I've heard some things about, that's why a bunch of editors have left over the past couple of months, DC Comics, and some creators. And from the sounds of things, they just straight up went to his bosses and were like, we're not happy. And what happens
Well,
when
you
enough
guys-
people complain about somebody, he gets tossed.
Well, you guys read that Heidi McDonald article, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Which was very, very interesting. And like, I'm very much. I'll say my bit in a bit, but like what they brought up in terms of like the Batman Damn controversy or whatever was interesting to me in terms of like stuff that like he was doing that like the higher ups were like, we're not really, we do not like this, and something that kind of like cut his lifeline shorter than it might have done.
Right. Yeah. Raph, what were you going to add?
Oh no, I was just gonna elaborate on the Facebook post I made a couple of weeks ago, which is, of all of us, I probably had the most interaction with Dan,
Right.
because he was one of my customers for a while before the Burbank move.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan, as a person, I love Dan. Dan was always nice to me, and he always stopped and talked with me about stuff, whether it was Wednesday Comics or it was Blackest Night. Whenever there was something going on, he'd ask me how it was selling, how people were talking about it, if I liked it or not. And he was really cool. He was really cool about things like that. One of the first days I worked at Midtown after I got back from Maryland, he actually showed up. I guess he was in town for something. And he was like, I haven't seen you in a while. I was like, yeah, I've actually been working at Diamond and blah, blah, blah. He actually remembered me. So I do want to say that I appreciate Dan the person because he's a terrific person. He's a wonderful human being.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, the editor, from everything I've heard, it seems like he was very micromanagey and he was obsessed with revamping things all the time.
No shit.
I mean, constantly. I mean, like we all know, we've all heard the stories. He wanted to kill Nightwing. He basically erased Wally West. He got rid of certain characters we all loved. I mean, he the New 52 and 5G seems like it was basically another New 52. Without being New 52. It was going to be, we're going to age out all the current DC heroes, and the next generation is going to take their place, which in theory you think would work. But you forget that comic book fans don't like change, and they're attached to their characters. Clark Kent will always be Superman. Bruce Wayne will always be Batman. So I think between the micromanaging and the idea that he wants to so radically change the universe just 8 years after he did it the first time, probably wasn't a good sign for him.
Is it just me? And mind you, it was never the official term, and it probably will change if they still go forward with it. But the fact that AT&T bought DC Comics and suddenly their new initiative is called 5G.
They've already changed it. It's Generation 5, I think.
I thought it was Generation 5, then it was 5G.
Thank the gods.
No, it's back to Generation 5. If it was before, it's back again now.
Yeah, because it sounds like a frickin',
synergy,
maximum clonage scenario where like somebody threw out in a meeting, something as a joke and it wound up sticking.
Alpha and Omega.
Yeah, because
hey, the higher ups are really like that. You know what? Yeah, let's call it 5G. Let's get some crossover. Maybe we'll include the first issue with every AT&T phone that people get at the store. That might be a good idea. That's right, guys. Let's go.
That's actually not a bad idea, but
really, Dan? No, but that's the other thing about Dan too. Dan was never afraid. He would buy ads in movie theaters for comics. He would buy TV ads.
Yeah.
I've never seen New 52 television commercials, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh
yeah, Marvel doesn't do that.
I've been seeing ads on what was it, on the CW streaming app for the new Harley Quinn graphic novel.
And look, he knew the value of getting eyes on books. He knew, to his detriment, like you said, revamping things doesn't always work.
Yeah.
But revamping things gets new people to read.
Yeah.
Because it breaks in the barrier of oh, this is a number one. I can start with this.
Yep.
I don't have
but only if it's good. And
but look, here's the thing. We know long-term readers. We know. What was your first book? What was your first comic book?
My first comic book overall, or my first comic book?
Yeah.
My first comic book was Uncanny X-Men 300.
What number?
300.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brent.
Batman 505.
Okay. Raph.
Official Handbook of the Marvel Universe, Update 89.
Oh my fucking god!
I was
amazing.
5 years old, and my mom wanted to teach me how to read.
How did you not?
She got me a comic book with a lot of words in it.
How did you not turn into Murd? Because that's
seriously.
You should have memorized that.
Because I like too many things to be focused on one thing.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
And Dono,
so I
what was
can't
yours?
be Murd.
Mine was Batman. The Batman Adventures. I think number 8 with Poison Ivy.
Nice.
Okay, look.
Ooh, good one.
So they're all in the middle of runs. I was lucky. My first comic book was X-Men number 1, not the Jim Lee version. The original X-Men number 1. It was a Silver Age reprint.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Batman Adventures 23, by the way.
Okay.
Those books have had continuity. They've been around for years.
Yeah.
So as a new reader, you're going to pick up right away. You're going to be confused no matter what.
Yeah.
But you'll get it. DiDio tried to lower that bar of entry every time, and it didn't always work. Look at New 52. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Do I have to?
I know, right?
Hey, some stuff did work. Some stuff did work overall, but yes, not everything did.
Yeah, but
The retcons never worked.
Yeah, no, that's true.
He continually tried to make books accessible for new readers, and that is, I think, a good mindset to have, because every book is going to be someone's first book.
Rebirth was a step in the right direction.
It was.
Rebirth was very much a course correction that I feel like was very beneficial in the end. The fact that Joshua Williamson is still on Flash and he's doing a damn good job. I read Flash year 1, and I mentioned this on CGS, and I 100% mean it. Like, I actually give a shit about Barry Allen outside of the TV show for the first time. Like,
Flash 750 was very good.
yeah,
He's been killing Flash for years,
He's
and I've been
amazing.
singing his praises.
yeah,
I've been reading. I used to read it at Midtown when I was still working there.
yeah, and
But
the artwork is
was like
superb
a
too.
Jeff Johns thing. It felt like.
What?
I know it was-
Yeah, but Jeff Johns didn't do anything with it.
I know.
He got fired.
Like he left.
Or he left. Yeah.
Yeah, he left. I understand that, but like, what I had knew to some extent, and like what felt like it was more unearthed recently since Dio left, was that like he and Didio and Jeff Johns often combated
That is true.
ideologically.
Yes, that is
And
true.
I remember hearing on Kevin Smith's podcast that like Jeff Johns was not in favor of the New 52, which was interesting to me considering how much of a Silver Age fanboy he is. But like he loves continuity, so to me, Rebirth it smells like Jeff Johns much more than Didio's ideas.
Yeah. Let me actually quote the Comics Beat article since you brought that up, as that was mentioned in it, and I happen to be right on it right now. Rebirth, unlike the other crises, was the baby of a different DC executive, Jeff Johns, who had been feuding with Didio over the details of all those revamps and retcons for years, supposedly ushering in a more optimistic DCU. Rebirth pleased some old-timer fans, but it also ushered in the eventual departure of DC from DC of Johns. So that says something right there. That in the post-Johns DC, Didio was back to Crisis mode. Dark Knight's metal was originally to be called Dark Crisis, and frankly, it's too bad. I know, seriously, and frankly, too bad it wasn't, because that would make the thread clear. Heroes in Crisis wasn't a continuity reboot, but it was another crisis, and a chance to make Wally West, long a Didio target, a psychopathic killer.
Identity Crisis 2.
Like,
That's what it was.
Electric.
And that's the thing. Like he relies on buzzwords too much. Yeah, crisis is a big word for comic book fans, especially for DC. But you can't have a crisis every goddamn fucking
I
year.
remember.
Yes.
I remember at Tom King's weird, like Eyes Wide Shut, like kind of sneak press thing about Heroes in Crisis. He said, "The Dan Didio always tells me you can't have a crisis without a Flash dying,"
Mm-hmm.
and everyone was like, "Oh, no." Can I say my spill about Didio?
Yeah, go ahead, shoot.
Okay, so I remember the first time I was aware of him as like a guy, because I knew he came into power around like Hush, right? But like I remember the Batman Begins DVD on the special features. They were talking about like the influences and Jeff Loeb obviously and parts of Dark Knight Returns. I remember this Dan Didio saying he's like no one understands Batman no more than Frank Miller, and that was around the time, because I think that was right before All Star Batman and Robin came out, or around the time where,
Oh
like,
boy.
Miller lost his damn mind. So I remember just immediately having a negative reaction towards him.
No, Batman Begins was 2005, so the DVD would have been out 2006. All-Star Batman and Robin started in late 2006, early 2007, I want to say. So yeah,
it
at the
was
time-
earlier than that.
No, it was announced earlier, but there were constant delays with that book. I mean, constant delays with that book.
That I remember.
So yeah, they announced it. One issue came out. 6 months later, another issue came out. Another 8 months later, another issue came out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to say is that, okay, so I've met Dan Didio twice. He was the very, very, very first, because the SDCC 2011 was the first con I ever went to. He was the first person, he was the first name I met within like the first 10 minutes. And he, I was highly critical of him in my teenage years. I was very jazzed, and he was super nice. There was one year, a few years later, where like he like took my friend Josh and I's picture in front of the DC logo. So I can attest to Raph. I believe said that he's a super nice guy personally.
Oh, yeah.
At least in terms of my interactions.
Yeah, well, in 2009, going back to Brandon talking about when he was at MegaCon, we stopped Dan on the show floor of MegaCon, and Brent and I.
Oh shit, we did.
Yeah, Brent
we had a
and I.
interview with him.
Yeah, Brent and I.
Yeah,
went
I remember
and
that.
Had a conversation with Dan Didio. It's episode 86B of Comic Timing, which was published on March 14, 2009. So
Raging Bullets numbering.
yeah. So if anybody wants to hear, Dan speaking with Brent and myself, that happened, and he was incredibly gracious with his time, and he just seemed to just have, in general, a passion for the comics, and that's all I ask for, man. Like out of an executive, especially, all I want is some frickin' passion for the industry. That's it. you know, and he brought that in spades. So I really appreciate him for that.
Right. Personally.
Yeah.
I never liked him in the job that he had at DC.
That's fine,
Ever.
dude. I had a lot of issues with some of the stuff that he did too, and I called for his head a couple times on this show in the past. So it's,
For me, it was much more consistent because because you hear that story about like Identity Crisis, which I like Identity Crisis.
So do I.
I get why people don't. I understand why people kind of thought it was like the harbinger of a lot of like the kind of dark era DC.
Yeah.
And I understand that. As a story, I like it. But the way he talks about Identity Crisis is like, you know, him being like 9/11 happens and he wants the DC universe to be darker and more violent. And to me, that's all I see with him. He has these like very grim stories, and he kind of ushers. And Jeff Johns is part of that, but I think the DiDio feels like he's the guiding hand for that. Like, let's shoot Bart Allen in the kneecaps. Let's brutally murder Genna in Blackest Night.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do, you know, all these like let's retcon Barry Allen's origin.
yeah.
You know, to have a dead mom, like that.
That might have been Jeff Johns, though.
That was Jeff Johns. That was
That very
100%
much-
Jeff Johns.
Everyone feels like Jeff Johns, but Dan DiDio feels like he's been slapping his back. Like he's the guy. It's like I don't know. It's like he's the person who kind of made the DC universe a less friendly place to be in. On top of the fact that like his antipathy towards the legacy characters, which that to me is DC Comics. DC Comics is about legacy. It's the oldest comic company. You have legacy characters that have established since the Golden Silver Age.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just like I don't, and it's kind of weird with Jim Lee being like the sole publisher. But like to me, it's like I don't understand how they see these characters beyond their legacy. Like the main 7 of the Justice League themselves are not the most interesting characters,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that he tries to sell them by just kind of consistently, like I don't think we would have had. I mean, this gets to be a lot more fanish and existential, but like I don't think we would have had like stuff like Man of Steel, you know, with Paul Levitz kind of still in the range. It feels like a result of like the Dan DiDio, what's the guy who's on Outsiders, and later on
Judd Winnick?
Judd Winnick, like that kind of like ushering, you know, oh, Young Justice sucks. Let's do Teen Titans and make it much more violent, you know. Let's bring in Outsiders with like, you know,
Well,
like all this.
Hey, Outsiders was
stuff.
decent.
Outsiders was fantastic, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and renege on that as
Really,
as
like
that's
Outsiders,
still
I give it a shot.
Yeah,
I give it three trades.
still one of my favorite series of that era. I actually
yes.
I enjoyed that. And mind you, I even enjoyed Jeff Johns' Teen Titans and a little bit after that to a point, even though, yes, it was not my precious Young Justice, and I'm glad to have it back now in the Bendis form. I've actually, I mean, mind you, the new Young Justice stuff that's been coming out from Bendis, I personally fucking love, and I feel like it's a return to home for me. But at the time, I did see it as a graduation day for Teen Titans, and I appreciated it for what it was, even if there were some changes that I wasn't thrilled with. But that's comic books in a nutshell, right there. You're not going
Well,
to.
I don't want to put it out as all he did was bad things.
No.
He did a lot of successful
Dude, please.
things. Like,
And honestly, I don't even
last
think
5 years.
I don't even think you're saying that because, frankly, you know, we've said like there's plenty of comics that we loved and there's plenty of ones that we didn't. What I feel like with 5G, because you talk about legacy, like DiDio seems like he was trying to usher in a new era of legacy with 5G. However, I sound like Stephen A. Smith right now. In doing
You
so,
gotta respect LeBron's game. Even if
I
you
having a very bad day.
I feel like in doing so, you're forgetting the fact that there's so much legacy to begin with, and there's so many legacy characters that are not getting the time of day.
Yeah, I don't think he fucking gets it though.
Yeah.
Like, and I, you know, I'm biting my tongue, trying to sound, you know, quote unquote professional.
He's not dead, Downey. He's not
Exactly.
dead. You can be critical.
Exactly.
But,
Come on.
no, it's like
Yeah. Well, hold on.
It's weird to.
Let me say something, Donovan, for a minute, and then you can get back to what you're saying. I feel like 5G to me, and this is exactly the type of criticism that I'm looking for here. Every single thing I'm sounding like I'm hearing from 5G sounds like frickin' Tom DeFalco in the 90s. Okay?
Ham-fisted.
Oh, MC2?
Fisted.
Yeah,
No.
not even MC2. Not even MC2. Eric Masterson, which was a good idea to a point, but at the same time, looking back on it now, just doesn't really like ring anywhere near as true as it should. You know, like
Dio.
thank you for bringing us back, old school. I love it. But like,
Jeez.
forced legacy. That's what 5G feels like to me. It's forced legacy for the sake of it. And yeah, some of those characters I do actually enjoy. Like Eric Madsen, I enjoy. I like the fact that Rhodey got his time of day, but it was like let's literally take everybody out of their costumes and replace them with new versions that clearly are not going to stick. That's what I feel like 5G is to me. You know, like it's clearly not going to stick. So why the hell should I care?
It feels like freaking Age of Apocalypse. That's what it feels like, but only not as well crafted.
Well, it's not going to be like a new universe, is it?
No, I mean,
No, it's the same universe. Supposedly, all the heroes that we know right now are going to get somehow aged up so that they can't perform their jobs. It didn't make sense in story.
Yes, it doesn't make sense because they're forcing it on us the way they did the New 52 and then 1 year later,
Right.
and all that always feels weird. It is better over the course of 5 generations, and when you regressed with the New 52 to do this retro stuff, and then you realize you need to course correct, and what was good about the DC universe is the legacy you had before, and you course correct with Rebirth, then sales start to sag or whatever because, I don't know, Tom King's a terrible Batman writer, and whatever else is going on, and maybe Bendis didn't have the heat he had 10 years ago, and you should have hired him then instead of right now. You know, you're looking for a sales stunt to pipe it up, and the last thing that worked for them was a line-wide reboot and rebirth.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to recognize the guy for what he did in terms of a publisher. Like, he started Trends, he started Infinite Crisis, he started the weekly event book, the yearly events. You know, he started all that stuff, and he didn't do it yearly necessarily. But he did it, and he was a pioneer in that way because what did you see Marvel do? Marvel Now +1, Marvel Now +2,
Marvel Now and Kate +8.
Summer after summer after summer, they had event after event after event. Not all of them were great, not all of them were good. And then what did they do after New 52? Reboot, you know? So they're riding Didio's coattails to their benefit, sure. And did they reap a lot more benefit than DC did? Sure. So I don't know what that says about Marvel or what that says about the Dio, but you got to recognize he authorized this stuff or he came up with it, whatever the deal was. He was a pioneer looking forward enough to keep a flagging industry for the last umpteen years. And I know people want to say, like, you know, oh, well, comic sales are rising and all this other stuff. And, like, you know,
Right.
I don't know if they are or aren't. But the reality is, and this is what I tell people, is like, you know, when they're like, oh, how many people read comics? Because I have people at work ask me sometimes. And I'm like, well, you know, it's really 100,000 people that buy month in, month out that we have knowledge of anyway, you know, in comic books. And you can base that off Batman.
Yeah.
Does everybody buy Batman? No. But a whole lot of people do. And if you want to use Batman as the top-selling book month after month, or, you know, a majority of the people buy Batman, then you got to assume 80% of the comic market is in that 100,000 number. And so you got to assume there are only really, like, what, 125,000 of us in a country of 300 million people that are just buying weeklies. You don't have you know, you can't see into digital. They don't do those numbers.
And that's just
people that do trades.
Yeah.
But the people that the publishers are really selling to are these weekly warriors, as, you know, some people call them. And that's not a whole lot of people to create a $1 billion a year industry across all the publishers.
Yeah.
No,
So
and, like,
it's small potatoes, and these guys, these publishers, these writers, these artists, you got to realize are fighting for their lives. And every day that they get to draw and create their art is a good day for them.
Absolutely.
So if they got to do a story about, I don't know, Damian Wayne growing up, or, you know, Luke Fox becoming Batman, which I'm totally for. If they want to do that, I'll try it. I'll read it. If they can do a good story.
Yeah, sure.
But to shit on somebody who's trying to keep his company alive and taking steps and stuff like that, whether you agree with the direction or not, I feel like is a disservice to the credit and respect he deserves.
And
Is that what I'm doing? Do you think that's what I'm doing?
No, I'm just, there are a lot of people online that are hating on Didio, Liefeld's, you know, championing his firing or whatever. And it's like, this guy did a lot for comics over the last, I don't know, 15, 18 years, however long he was there.
years,
Like, I don't remember reading a DC comic when he wasn't in charge.
I legitimately,
I started with
do.
Hutch.
I legitimately do not believe anybody on this call does not appreciate, what he did, even if we all were not fans of everything that he did. And I think that that's something that I really hope is coming across on this episode.
It's fine not to be fans with stuff, but
Exactly.
I think we have to recognize that he did stuff as a publisher and led the charge. And
Yes.
Marvel picked up the baton and ran with it. And sure, their success is certainly spurred on by the movies.
Yeah.
That's a different thing.
Well, let me just finish real quick.
Sure.
'Cause If we're kind of going on,
Yeah.
I'm not sad to see him gone. Emotionally, I'm just am not. I was reading since the '90s, and I felt that like the development of the characters and all the legacy and like the quality of storytelling leading up to the new era was fine. I'm not saying that DC has had a perfect track record before then. You have like stuff like Emerald Dawn, arguably The Killing Joke, stuff like that. So DC, have tried different things, and the DO certainly had his own vision. And I do like things like Identity Crisis, Infinite Crisis, Rebirth. I like those stories, and I like a lot of the things that happen under his direction. Like let's say Burnside Batgirl, I really enjoy. But I don't mind seeing him gone because I thought that he may love comic books. I can tell he disrespects too many of the characters for those characters who continually flourish under him. Like what the hell's going on with Dick Grayson right now? Wally West. I think that we have up and comers like James Tynion and other writers who at least are kind of showing interest in other characters, which we've been kind of wanting for the last several years since New 52. So things may be looking brighter in development of those people. And also, I imagine that there's, as great as Dio was, I don't think he was like a diamond in the rough, lightning in the bottle type of publisher. There's a lot of different publishers out there. So I don't want to necessarily crap on him and throw out his legacy all over again. But I'm not going to like George Bush this and pretend that like he was overall, did great things that I'm going to forgive now that he's gone in the aftermath. I just kind of want to keep it real like that.
No, dude, and I get that. And frankly, I mean, I'm of the mind that it was time for him to go anyway. A new person at the front is going to wind up being probably an overall positive. Whether that continues to be Jim Lee solo or whether they bring on someone else to be Jim Lee's boss or whether they have Jim Lee and someone else, as long as that someone else is not Bob Harris, then I think we're fine. Keep him in the EIC role if you want to. I really, really hope that Bob Harris just remains there and doesn't wind up getting any further power. Because to me...
Yeah, I don't like just Lee up there by himself.
Yeah, but either way...
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is Lee... I think it's just going to be Harris in charge of the comics, and Lee's going to continue what he's been doing, which is selling the DC brand to other people.
Yeah, brand ambassador, basically.
Okay, so one of the interesting things that I've found, over the last 10 years of podcasting with you guys is, we love great stories and we love things that are brave and take risks. But when it comes to overall directions, like most comic fans, the trend seems to be to keep characters where they're at. Nightwing as Rick Grayson is a terrible idea. Sure.
It's still going on.
It's still going on. No doubt about that. But I think that's an execution, not necessarily because him not being Nightwing or losing his mind is a terrible idea. It might be a bad story idea because it wasn't fleshed out and it's had 3 or 4 different writers, but that's a different thing.
Just obnoxious.
But like the trend seems to be keep characters in their spot. And that's kind of a weird thing when to say or to want out of a company like DC when we have just talked about DC's whole idea is their legacy characters with, the Golden Age Flash, who's somehow trying to make his way back over the last 5 years and keep teasing it with Wally West or Wallace West, whichever one he wants to call himself now. The different Robins, and so it's kind of a weird thing to hate change and dislike directions a company or a publisher takes to try and pump up sales, which is their whole purpose right now, and to deliver good stories while they do that, but still, want the characters to stay the same and nothing to change.
Well,
It's kind of a weird thing.
Stan Lee talked about the illusion of change. It was kind of the key to like keeping comic readers, and I on one hand I think you're right, but I think it depends because, like you mentioned, like the different Roberts and stuff. I mean, you would have the letter writer here or there, but generally, like I don't think people really. I mean, I didn't really care that like Tim Drake wasn't Robin after 20 years, and there was another one because he had a really long, solid run. You have other like. Do people really hate Wallace West? Is that what they call him? like the Black Wally West. I think people like the idea of an evolving storyline as long as it feels natural and not put upon by retrograde or retroactive storytelling or sort of like kind of spontaneous stuff to goose the sales. I think that people don't necessarily mind change as long as the execution doesn't feel cynical. I think, in my opinion,
or if it doesn't make sense. Like for example, Cassandra Cain goes from being Batgirl to being Tim Drake's arch nemesis. How? Why?
Yeah, that's
when?
unjustifiable.
Never explained.
Yeah, and Adam Beaton said, "Well, why is this happening?" And Danny Dio just told him just to do it, as evidenced by an interview he did around the time. It's like that kind of stuff is bad storytelling, and fans are right to not like that. Something more complicated is with Kyle Rayner, because Kyle Rayner is a great character, but Hal Jordan, like him or not, was screwed over.
Yes,
because that was not the original ending to his story. It was going to be he's going to go off to the sunset. It's like, let's become a villain. It's kind of twisted that way, but I wouldn't throw out fans don't like change because that feels like something that a pissy comic writer would say. I think that like fans don't like change often, but like it does also depend because there are plenty of examples of fans going along with the change as long as the storytelling is good.
I am of the mind that, and it was pretty much what Brent's already said, is that change that makes sense I am A-okay with. Like change that is actually, well established and built up to and makes sense in the overall story that's being told, I'm down with. Like you want to do actually, frankly, Azrael was a perfect example. Like you want to do a story where you lead up to Batman's back being broken, and then he impulsively turns to someone to take over the mantle.
Bats.
And things go horribly wrong from there. Like that sort of scenario is great. Snyder's Commissioner Gordon as Batman was another good example of something that actually just made sense story-wise for what was being told, and you go ahead and shoot that out there. Sure, I'm down with it. Jane Foster as Thor, bringing it over to Marvel. Perfect example. Jason Aaron made that work as a story, and it's just about as essential a Thor run now as Simonson's run. Like that's how well respected that run is. What Jonathan Hickman's doing over at the X-Men right now is such a left field turn, but works so perfectly in the X universe and just breathes new life into those characters. And he's done it before for the Avengers. For the whole
I love the Avengers
incursions and stuff like that was frickin' beautiful. So it completely depends on whether or not the story actually warrants that change, and it doesn't feel like, oh, one issue this thing's happening, and the next issue suddenly, oh, hey, there's a new Robin walking around, and his name is Bob, and you're gonna love him because he's Asian, and that's it. Like
Bob the
Asian Robin coming soon. Mind you, Raph would buy Raph would buy 700 copies of it if that happened. But still, like you would buy it even more if it led up to it properly. You know what I mean? Rather than just coming out of left field.
And that's what the Ethan Van Sciver's of the comics world kind of complain about, which we should never take seriously. But
of course not.
When diversity happens, they always argue that that's like spontaneous change that was inorganic.
Right.
And it's like, well, diversity is not inorganic.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever have a point. But like, there are examples of people presuming that like diversity inclusion is a change that nobody asked for, and an example of bad comic writing, which I think can be weaponized in terms of like how they critique comic books.
Sure. Like, Miles Morales was freaking fantastic when it was executed. Sure, it was in the Ultimate line to begin with, but, it created a character that made complete sense as the next Spider-Man, and he's still doing an excellent job, over in the main Marvel universe today.
Kamala
was fantastic and still is. All the different Runaways characters when they were introduced by Brian K. Vaughan, it was terrific, and some of the new characters thrown out there in Bendis' line, Wonder Comics. Naomi.
Oh yeah, Naomi. That was I actually wrote about that on DC Universe. That was a great first issue.
Yeah, Naomi's really cool. I'm digging her so far.
Gold balls.
Yes, Gold Balls.
Ballsy goodness.
The fact that Gold Balls has become an actual like non-joke character just makes me so happy.
Gold Balls. Who saw that coming, right?
Yeah, right. They made him an integral X-Men character. Like, holy shit.
They did.
So yeah, if it's done great, then it's done great. I certainly hope that DC's 5G, in whatever way it happens, or 5th generation or Generation 5 or 5U Me TV WNBC, winds up working out and is excellent comics. But we're not going to know until it comes out. So it seems like that initiative's still going forward, and I hope that Dan DiDio finds himself a job that works just as well as his DC Comics job did for him, maybe at a new company or a pre-existing company, and that he's able to just continue to bring the enthusiasm, even if it wasn't all positive execution. He definitely is enthusiastic about the industry, and I love that. So,
has anyone ever made the joke that him and DC reboots go hand in hand because he came from the show Reboot?
I have made that joke to myself many times.
Yeah, it's been made.
Yeah.
We've talked. I'm sure we've mentioned it once or twice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you ever hear about his great failure with the show Reboot?
I have heard some of it because I was at a Reboot panel at New York Comic Con with him as the moderator. But go ahead, Brendan.
So, the very end of the show Reboot, the system is crashing, and in order for the system to be saved, the user, and this would be the first time that you see the user from their perspective, has to restart the computer. So on the screen that the user sees, it says restart Y/N, and they go to print and they make the episode. So fast forward 6 to 9 months after the show's been animated and voiced, they're watching it, and DiDio goes, "You know what? It would have been a good time to put down the word reboot."
Love it.
Oh my God. And this comes from a man who, because of that New York Comic Con panel, I learned that most of season 3 was written on bar napkins at a strip club.
Yep.
Was that like with Matrix and like all that? Because I like that shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
that was a season. So it was Adult Enzo. That was a fucking good one too.
Oh,
yeah, that was awesome.
It was so good.
Some after I got confused by it, but I love that end of season 3.
That time skip, and it on a freaking cliffhanger too.
Enzo's girlfriend, I'm pretty sure, was actually patterned after a stripper at that strip club. If I remember the story right. Her general model, like she might have even come in and done some capture work for it too, like. Oh my God!
Can I put a pin on this real quick?
Shoot!
If it wasn't for DiDio, I wouldn't be in comics.
Yeah,
reading them at all right now.
Mm-hmm.
I fell out of comics around freshman year of college, so that was 2003. I stopped reading for about a good 2 years. The first book that got me back in the comics was OMAC Project, the reboot, which was the precursor to
Greg Rucka.
Yes, which was the precursor to Infinite Crisis, and that was under DiDio's watch. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be back in comics. And I think, like I said before, when DiDio let the writers flourish, just do whatever they want to do, as long as they just hit the story points, it was the best time in DC Comics.
Mm-hmm. That era unintentionally led me into the world of podcasting, because when I was in college, my final project was to do a NPR style radio presentation. And that's what I did my comic books, not just for kids anymore piece that I got to interview Phil Jimenez for.
Oh, nice!
Prelude to Infinite Crisis.
He is such a nice guy.
He's an awesome dude. He really is. Yeah, and he was very giving with his time, and I basically I turned like a 30-minute interview into like a 4-minute piece for that, and wound up then using the 30-minute interview as a later episode of what was then the Geek Speak podcast, and
Rest in peace.
released it in. Oh, it's still out there. It's just dying. But
No, it's out there just silently whispering, "Kill me, kill me, please."
Anybody who wants to listen to a one-man show, Ian Levinstein show, can go ahead and go to speakgeekspeak.com and just go ahead and read and listen to all those old, very outdated reports on what the Xbox 360 is going to be like.
Wow. Jeez.
Kill me, please.
Yeah, seriously. But no, like that led me into the world of podcasting and led me, in further into comic books, because I Infinite Crisis was really what cemented into me following DC as closely as I did when I was first into it in the late 90s. So that definitely did it for me. So, it is what it is. But speaking of crises, since last we spoke, there was a big one on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Crisis
man.
on...
You're not talking about the election, are you?
No, I'm not.
I am once again asking you to give me $3.50 so I can go get a bagel on this campaign stop.
What are you doing here?
Voting 70-year-olds.
Next question.
Next question. Yes, no, next question. Crisis on Infinite Earths. It happened.
Fucking awesome.
Oh my god.
Holy
So good.
fucking shit. Like,
I mean, I was in by like the third I liked the first episode.
Yeah.
I liked the third episode.
Yeah.
I was not as hot on 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't watched anything after that, honestly.
The only one I didn't like, the only one I cared for the least was the second episode. Otherwise, I thought it was pretty cool.
I think they
All
executed
the Brandon Routh stuff. That's all I care about.
Oh, the Brandon Routh stuff was fantastic, but I think that they executed the reboot very cleanly. However, I do not appreciate the fact that, oh no, the multiverse is dead. Woe is us. And then, hey, guess what? There's still a multiverse. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Oh, when they killed off the Titans world, I knew that was always going to happen.
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But then making Doom Patrol and Titans two separate worlds was interesting.
Actually, all the
Because if
DC
you watch
shows are different
Titans
worlds.
season 1, that's a different. The Doom Patrol cast is not all the way in there.
I heard that. Yeah.
Because they hadn't cast it yet.
Yeah. So I guess that's
Some of them are.
I guess that's how they're excusing it away. That there's a Doom Patrol on their Earth and there's a Doom Patrol on the other one. So yeah, but
Listen.
I absolutely love that all the CW characters are all on the same Earth, and that they streamline that at least. Like that makes me very happy.
The Marv Wolfman scene was awesome.
Yes.
So good.
Oh my
Make
God,
it
I love
love.
There's like the man who killed these characters. Then like it's in their picture. They're just smiling and glistening. It's so good.
And the costumes were pretty perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I never expected them to pull off Pariah as well as they did.
Or Harbingers.
Or Harbinger, yeah. Like that was
That Kingdom Come Superman outfit, though.
that Kingdom
Oh.
Come, that Kingdom
that
Come
was beautiful.
Superman outfit is fucking perfect. And then the colorful one in the last episode, like the one
He finally gets to do the Christopher Reeve smile scene because he didn't do it for Superman Returns.
Oh.
He did do
Yeah.
this for returns.
No, they
It's
cut it.
CG.
yeah.
I've seen Superman Returns 19 billion times.
Ah!
It's CG.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've seen online like him doing that. Like was that cut scene?
No, that was from Crisis.
No, I saw like a 2006 era Brandon Routh Superman do that.
If
Was that not-
it was cut because I rewatched it right after the third episode of Crisis aired, and I was just bawling my eyes out because he's so perfect.
He was so good as Superman.
So
Yeah.
he is fucking Christopher Reeve Superman.
Oh my God.
And I don't give a shit what anyone says. Christopher Reeve Superman is definitive Superman.
Yeah, no.
he regenerated into Brandon Routh.
Oh, and speaking of which, what'd you guys feel about what they did with Smallville Superman?
Oh, the perfect send-off. Perfect send-off.
I liked it.
I had a problem with it. I think I'm over it now.
Okay.
I'm mildly annoyed because I feel like it invalidates the comics, but whatever, it's fine. This is what he wanted,
Yeah.
and I respect that.
I mean, it could also have happened after the comics.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think because
Look,
like he's
Lex
not,
is still
like,
president.
Yeah, he's not like a whole decade. Well, yeah, that's true. I will say that like Tom Welling, who I think in the past I've kind of disparaged his acting, he fell right back into the role.
He did.
Like that was Smallville Clark, and that was really cool.
And so did Erica Durance, for that matter. Like she did a really good job as Lois for her few scenes in there. Or am I getting her? Am I getting the name of the person wrong?
No, she. Yeah,
Okay, all right,
right.
good. Okay, yeah. I always liked her Lois, and I wish we'd gotten more of it. So I'm glad that like we
She's
even
my
got a
favorite
couple
live-action
scenes.
Lois.
She is. I think I Amy Adams is like I liked in Man of Steel for like the 5 minutes that she was actually competent.
Yeah,
But Erica Durance is that bulldog tenacity that she has as Lois Lane is just so spot on to the character, and I love it so much.
I think
I'm a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter. She had to. The fact that they made her say it.
Yeah.
Just, ooh, that movie.
Oh my god.
Sometimes. Oh, let's not talk about it.
Well,
5 minutes.
Oftentimes.
5 minutes. She was competent.
I
But,
think
like,
I think
the fact
Grim
that-
Lois might wind up being pretty good, but we'll have to see after this Superman and Lois series actually premieres.
I want to love it.
Yeah.
I want to love it because
So do I.
I like what's
I
his
like
face.
Superman. I'm not sure about the girl they cast as Lois. I just feel like she's really old.
I like Grim Lois, so that's what I'm going to
Grim Lois.
Yeah, I'm going to
Lois
continue.
Knight returns.
No, I call her Grim Lois because she was on Grimm.
Yep.
She was Juliet on Grimm. So that's what I'll always know her as. But she's Lois now, so that's what she is.
The thing is, I wasn't necessarily like super like into her as Lois until she bumped into Brandon Routh, and then they did the scene and they played the Lois Lane theme in the background, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, no, she's Lois Lane. We're good. We're good. I got
Yeah,
it.
was-
She's not great,
So
but she's
good.
good.
I was a fan of her
Good.
in the last crossover, actually. From
Oh
her
yeah,
first
the one
introduction.
Book of Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I was a fan of her. I was a fan of her from her first introduction. I'm like, all right, you're good.
No, I liked her. I just wasn't like this. She's a terrific Lois Lane until like.
The death of Superman pose. The death of Superman pose.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
that was a
cool.
good one too.
Oh,
It was so much fun.
Oh my
Birds of
God.
Prey.
You
yes.
guys know which Superman that was, right?
yes, that was Christopher Gerard.
No, it wasn't.
Yep.
It wasn't.
Was
That's
it
what?
that's actually internet bunk. It was Tyler Holcomb's stunt double. It was
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't the actor. It's just it's supposed to be that. I think it's supposed to be that Superman though.
Yeah.
Because I didn't look at the internet.
It's not Christopher Gerard himself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They might have been trying to.
I did
trying to
not know
invoke
that.
But yeah, they were trying to invoke that. But yeah, it was definitely Tyler
That's
Holcomb's
cool.
stunt double. But it was fucking great. And then the surprise they got over all of us.
which one?
man.
Which one?
What,
There were
what
two.
did you say when it hit?
How? Why? How?
The fact that they managed to keep silent movie Flash.
Even Melissa Benoist was shocked when she saw it. Live. She was watching live. She's like, I didn't know about this.
Well, apparently they did it the last day of filming,
Oh wow.
which is why I said if you notice the actual film grain of that scene is completely different than the rest of the series. It's shot differently also as well.
Yeah.
I don't care.
No, I'm saying, but like, it's a lot of GoPro stuff that they use.
Yeah.
That's the overall feel of it, and that's how you can like. It was done very, very late in production, and which is why they're able to keep it a secret because, oh yeah, you're here working on your Flash film, quote unquote, on the same lot, so they wouldn't even notice that at all.
Because they were announcing this stuff since last. I remember when they announced Brandon Routh as Superman during Comic-Con 2019. So this has been production had been for a while. So that was miraculous how they kept this.
But here's a kicker though. It wasn't DC TV asking. It was DC Warner Brothers movie saying, "Yeah,
Really?
can we put him in your show?"
And then
Make people like us again.
Yeah, and Jim Lee was the go-between. He's the one who basically set that up. Yeah. No,
Interesting.
I was beyond like so that night because I don't have very good over the air here where I am in the Bronx. So I waited for it to be on the CW app. So I stayed up until like 3 a.m. until it was streaming, and then I went ahead and watched it. And I rewound that scene like 4 times just because it completely floored me. And I'm not even that whoop-de-doo on the movie universe, but still, just the fact that they pulled that off, that surprise off, just made me fucking thrilled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, also, do you remember like back when like they were kind of settling into BVS coming out, and like Ezra Miller was getting crap because like Grant Gustin was widely accepted, and like Grant Gustin had to kind of defend his casting.
Yeah.
Like to me, that felt like that was kind of coming full circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
like those two kind of validating each other, and like even implying that like Ezra Miller's Flash would get the name The Flash from The Flash, which is such a Flash thing to do.
Yeah, that was pretty freaking great. I still wish he was Wally West instead of Barry Allen. I'm just sticking with that, but I know he's not, so I will deal with it, and I will live, and I will somehow survive.
Yeah, he's not Barry Allen, but like the fact that they constantly, and this is what the best thing about this, because people, I don't know if you want to do this, but like if you want to compare it to Endgame, like they genuinely pulled off the multi-universe thing.
Oh yeah,
that is true from the comics, like with like the '89 Batman thing and the '60s Batman thing, and like the Titans show and like all the different Superman stuff. I mean, there's so much legitimacy in that by utilizing the full lore of DC media that it totally works, because you can just get different actors to play the same different parts, or the same actors to play different parts. Like it's a bulletproof, perfect way to adapt that idea, and it really was fun.
Which surprise did you think I was talking about, Brandon? What was the other surprise that you were...
the Lucifer one.
Oh yes!
Oh yeah, Lucifer.
Yes, that one too.
That.
Like,
that was pretty cool.
We knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
I'd forgotten.
Because they said, he said, I'm in town for a bachelor party. Don't lie to us, Tom. You're here for filming the show. But I mean, like,
did you notice the billboard in the background when they first showed L.A. of Earth 666?
No,
there was a billboard for the Watchmen TV show.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. It was badass, and I loved it. The other big surprise, I mean, even if it wasn't like a cameo surprise, but when they all get to the In-Between's place and
the vanishing point,
thank you, and Brandon Routh just suddenly is like, oh, something doesn't feel right, and then he disappears.
Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good.
Exactly.
I was so mad.
But the just that it was John Cryer's Luthor that did it just made it work for me, because
I got two things.
Yeah,
his Luthor is, I think, my favorite media version of Luthor,
except for the animated.
Yeah, Clancy Brown.
Yeah,
Clancy Brown's the man.
Clancy Brown's the man, but I think there's something about John Cryer and that benevolent malevolence to his character.
Yeah.
Superman made me do it. That was awesome.
Exactly, and like it's just like, like you can tell, like he was scorned by working on Superman 4. You can tell.
Well, because he's an actual comic book fan. He's an actual comic book fan.
Yeah.
That's what drives it home for him. Like the fact that he said on that Kevin Smith like Talking Dead thing that they did for Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Post-panel thing.
Exactly. That they drove home the fact that he was only going to do those 3 episodes on Supergirl, but then he heard that they were doing Crisis on Infinite Earths, and he's like, "You're writing me into that. You're doing that. I am coming back for that shit." And now he's a regular on Supergirl.
He makes that show so much better because he's got that look in his eye, of that self-righteous look of like, I'm doing the right thing for humanity.
Well,
yeah,
and I'm doing it.
He did work with Charlie Sheen for a while, so
some of those actors are signed. Some of those CW actors are signed for like their season or series regulars or across the universe, not just on one particular show. Like in their contract, it just says you're going to do 22 episodes a year. We don't know what shows, but you're going to do 22.
Yeah.
You're going to come back for this many episodes a season on across all the shows.
That would explain
like
why
I think
Diggle
Flash
showed up
is signed
on
to Flash, but like Sarah Lance might be across a couple shows. Some of those secondary characters.
That wouldn't
which is why Black Lightning got a truncated season, because I think Cress Williams is signed for X amount of episodes, but he had to do the crossover also.
Right. And also, that would explain why Diggle showed up on Flash like immediately after the Arrow finale. Because it was probably part of his contractual obligation. Although it hasn't been confirmed, but I would frickin' love if Diggle shows up on the Lois and Clark show
as Green Lantern.
As Green Lantern, Green Lantern would be great. But even if they don't, even if he's just there, I'll be happy. But yes, as Green Lantern would be fucking awesome. I love that they did that in the Arrow finale. That was goddamn beautiful.
Give me Diggle on Legends. I'll be happy.
Okay, all right. Two things.
Yeah.
First, I love that, because I'm pretty sure I didn't see this coming. Them ending with what was presumably the Justice League, but turned to be like the Super Friends.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
With Glee.
That was awesome. That was great, and I love Grant Gustin, because Grant Gustin is a Superman fan. He's like, "Thanks, Superman!" That was terrific. But the death of the Flash.
Yes.
Talk about legitimacy. When
and they
honored
did
that Flash so much, and to give him comics' greatest death.
Oh my god.
And the way they did it, which is the same way he almost died in the comics too.
Oh,
the run, and you see the costume fade. I'm like, oh no!
And the fact that they did that flashback to the first episode of the '89 Flash.
God.
That was the first episode.
Oh my god! Yeah, it was literally the first episode of the show. The first time he ever met her was just goddamn beautiful. That was.
I just love what a fan the current Flash series is of that era, and because they're building up Flash dying, because that's the big thing from Crisis, and you never knew that he was going to. You knew he was never going to die, but when they did that, you kind of almost want to say it's a fake out, but it's a really great way to do it.
I was a little bit annoyed. I was a little bit annoyed with the fact that the Flash TV show has been, hinting at it for goddamn forever.
Since the beginning of the show.
Since episode 1.
Yeah, exactly. And
they spaced it out so it'd be 7 seasons later.
Yeah.
Or something like that, or 10.
10 years
and then
later,
they moved it up because of whatever happened.
Yep. Yeah.
It's him
it was a little bit of a caveat. I didn't want Grant Gustin to not have a job per se, but I was kind of interested in what they would do without him.
Give us a few of at least half a season of just Wally. As a repercussion,
Why won't they do that?
From what I understand, I think Guggenheim said that was something another writer did, and he didn't want to pay it off because it wasn't his idea.
Bullshit. Come on, man.
That's stupid.
Like that.
That's how you
Greg
get it.
Berlanti's the goddamn producer of all those series. He can't pull it together and go, hey, we wrote
But
this
he didn't write it. He wasn't
here.
producer at that point.
Yeah, you want to know
I
who
thought
it
he covered
was?
Berlanti was producer of Arrow with Guggenheim. Then
It was
they started
Kreisberg.
Flash. He's the producer of all those. Who cares? Who cares
now,
who wrote
yes.
it?
Yeah, if it wasn't Kreisberg, it was Johns, and Johns is no longer involved.
What is John?
Yeah,
Jones?
I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. So if Johns is no longer involved, why do I need to pay off something Johns
That's
did?
just dumb. If
I
the
know.
people in Alias have to follow the fucking Berlanti machine for 6 seasons based off one writer leaving and didn't follow it up or anything, then you could follow up the damn Crisis.
J.J. Abrams on
Come
Lost.
on.
I'm with Brent. That feels weirdly impotent for a
I don't know. I read it on the internet, so take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, did you read it on?
But I think it was a direct quote.
Did you read it on Cosmic Book News? Because you can always trust.
No,
them. Okay.
no, it's a legit. It was a direct quote from a tweet that he put out.
Oh, okay, got it.
So I'm pretty sure it's legit what he said. I just don't remember the website.
He was dropping dime on stuff on Twitter. There's no Wonder Woman presence in this, and I think that was because they tried but couldn't work it out.
Yeah. Well, the reasoning why we didn't get Smallville Lex.
We know that.
It's still kind of fucked up how they
incompetent.
did it.
That's gross incompetence there.
Yeah.
That is gross.
Somebody dropped the ball.
They did Rosenbaum dirty with that.
Yeah.
Oh, there's not even that. You don't go to an actor and say, "Hey, you want to be in this thing? We don't have a part for you yet, but you want to be in it."
No money.
Not even talking about money. Is just you don't go to an actor and say, "Hey, you want to do this thing?" Without having an actual set.
It would have been cool to see him and John Cryer interact, though.
Yeah, it would have been great, but
But they didn't. They didn't have any foresight.
I wonder if he's going to be in the Superman show now.
Cryer?
Cryer?
I think so.
I would hope so. I would certainly hope so. I mean, even if he's not on it regularly, he's going to have to at least guest appear a couple times. He's fucking Lex Luthor.
Also, does he know that Clark is Superman?
No, he doesn't.
Well, that was weird because he knew that he was in other worlds, but apparently he still doesn't know on the news.
But the thing is, he walks into the Daily Planet. No, where Superman and the Clark Kent of that world, who is also Superman by the way, is, and he doesn't put it together.
There was
They actually paid off. They paid off as a joke.
Yeah.
Saying in the actual crossover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, when we get to Tom Welling wasn't wearing any glasses, so he's just like, oh, that's Superman, I guess.
Yeah. There was
in a Brawny Man shirt.
Yeah, wasn't on the line something along the lines of it's like it's hard to believe that in some universes Clark Kent is Superman because because there's no way that guy
That the guy in my universe is Superman. Yeah.
That's so comic book convenient.
I know, but it's so Lex too, like not being able to believe that he could never.
Because he did that in the comics.
Yeah. Even though he knows
in Burns' run,
even though he knows who
like
Supergirl is,
or whatever.
Even though he knows who Supergirl is, and yet he can't put two and two together that Clark is Superman. But okay.
Well, that's because Kara Danvers is not Clark Kent's cousin, right?
Yeah.
No, they are. They are.
What an idiot!
No, they're not though.
The Danvers sisters are quote unquote cousins to the Kents.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the second episode when Clark visited. Was it National News or
National News?
Oh yeah.
Like Clark visited to see Kat, but I don't know if they established. I forget. I just forget. It's been years.
Kat knew that Clark was Kara's cousin.
Oh, all right. What did we?
Kira's cousin.
The other.
Yeah, yes, Kira.
Can I bring up the other thing that didn't quite work for me was so you kill Ollie once. And then you make him the Spectre, which is cool. It's like, okay, they're doing Hal Jordan shit. That's pretty cool. They don't have Hal Jordan to do Hal Jordan shit.
That was
so
ridiculous. Like he just walks up. I'm the Spectre. Now you are.
Exactly. It's like oh, wait a minute, and that's extra hilarious because
I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, well, because John Constantine.
I'm John Corrigan.
Yeah, but not the one that you know. Because obviously Jim Corrigan was on the Constantine show, so that's a very different person and not that one.
Well, I read that after the fact. Like apparently, I mean, he was a different actor, but like didn't have the same kind of like physical makeup? Similar.
Yeah, potato.
But it was just so ridiculous because like we never like led up to the Spectre and it just walks on.
Yeah,
I'm John. By the way,
I'm the Spectre.
Something else.
Yeah,
and it's like. I mean, I appreciate the balls because it's completely reckless, but I didn't hate it, but it was horrible storytelling.
And
it's very comic booky and unfortunately doesn't translate well to TV.
Yes. Yeah.
I gave it a pass. Just because I was having so much fun.
It almost took away from the Monitor stuff too much for me to throw in this extra mystical bent. I mean, like, sure, they did it to explain how the worlds were going to get merged and what have you, but there's other ways to explain that. Like, I like the idea of him as Spectre. I don't like the idea of doing it in like 2 episodes and then having him die anyway.
And then getting that crappy costume for being Spectre.
Yes, it was rushed and didn't feel
like Ragman.
Natural. Yeah,
and I thought there was concept art of him as a Spectre, but with like a much better costume.
I'm sure there was, dude, but money.
He looked like Bruce Willis from Unbreakable.
And the Spectre costume for the Green Arrow wouldn't have been that hard. Just do a version of the Hal Jordan costume. That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
All the costume money got spent on Brandon Routh,
who has the best look I've ever seen.
Yes. Brandon Routh and and the Anti-Monitor. That's where your budget went for costumes.
Mm-hmm.
But like. Fuck Batfleck. Like that Brandon Routh Superman costume. Show me a better looking Superman costume on anybody. Holy shit!
I don't care what I have to do. They need to give Brandon all the money in the world and put a 13 episode first season of Brandon Routh Superman on HBO Max. I will unsubscribe from Disney Plus, Netflix, whatever they want me to. And subscribe to whatever to HBO Max.
I mean, he needs a job now. He's off Legends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Please do it, cause just do it. Just give me what I want. Just give me.
Yeah, that was.
He's so fucking good.
He's actually
and that's so little to do.
I know.
When he when he went from like super sped from Clark Kent to Superman, he's like, actually, that's the least crazy thing I've heard all day. Like he's okay. First we deal with Luthor, then like Tyler Haggard's like, and you won't be alone. I was like, this has no right being this cool.
Yeah, and then after the fight, he's like, Just so you know, this is the second time I've gone crazy and fought myself.
Yeah.
Which is a clear reference to Superman 3, which I love.
Fires and continuity.
I just went ahead and watched like the last 3 episodes of Arrow, even though I hadn't watched it for a season and a half. So I went ahead and watched the spin-off episode. They need to make that show.
Yeah.
They are making the show.
Oh, they
No.
are. It's official.
They are,
serious?
Good.
Terrible. Don't do it.
You didn't like it?
They're doing it. I mean, that was the test pilot for it. Just
I know, I
just
understand, but I didn't. They didn't put any effort into making it feel like 20 years in the future.
No, that
Like,
I would agree.
yeah.
It's 20 years in the future, really?
Yeah,
It's
so
2040.
it worked fine when Star City was destroyed, and all you had to show was a bunch of beat up old buildings and shit like that. But they didn't do any effort at all to make it seem 20 years in the future at all when it was rebuilt Star City. It was like, hey, we're in Vancouver. It's the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
why not bring the girl to the present instead of sending both those other actors into the future?
Also, it is not confirmed. We will not know until May whether or not they're picking up the spin-off.
Okay.
You know what? I know the website had said that it was going to series, and I know they got in trouble for that.
Yes,
So,
Screen
I was
Rant
wondering-
a week ago said that we won't know until May. And I
Okay.
and I
I
trust.
didn't see that. I didn't see that post.
And
So.
Guggenheim also tweeted on March 2nd that we'll hear something in May. So that's straight from the source.
Pretty sure Lois and Clark is confirmed though.
Lois and Clark is confirmed. Yes, that is definitely happening.
Superman and Lois.
This show could
Well,
be
whatever.
this show could be the Batman Beyond of the DC TV universe if they
Shway.
play it right. Yes, totally. way shway. So if it works, let's make it happen. But
Yeah.
we're gonna have to see if that actually happens.
And I'm here for giving her not only her 2 mentors, but the way they said the future Huntress also. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's pretty smart. I like
Yes.
this, and you're gonna get the Black Helena. I'm like, okay, I'm down for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope it comes out that the 2 sons, Super Sons, and this future Green Arrow is Data Dio's idea, so you can all then hate it.
Okay, I didn't love the JMS stuff, but I've never had a problem with anything Superman during the Dio's run, except maybe the New 52. But the New 52 in general was kind of
Super
that.
Pro was one of the worst comic runs I'd read ever. Truth? Him in a motorcycle with that buzz cut, trying to
Yeah,
do,
that's what I'm saying. Like, aside from the JMS run, I can't think of anything I didn't like.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I hear you saying.
Yeah. So the JMS run is the only exception, but everything else was. I don't even. Yeah, because the John stuff was great. The new Krypton stuff.
What about Jurgens on Rebirth? And,
I love Jurgens on Rebirth.
Yeah,
Action Comics was good, man.
Yeah.
Ever since Rebirth, I've been reading Superman more consistently than I ever have in my whole life.
Well, I've been reading Superman since '97, so I can't really.
Hey,
I mean, I'm not saying it's the best it's ever been, but like I've been digging it since Rebirth.
Yeah, no, everything since Rebirth's been good. I think my favorite era, besides Electric Blue, because I do legitimately love Electric Blue, but I say it's my favorite to troll people, is the Loeb run.
Oh, sure.
The Loeb run, the Our Worlds at War from like late night, early,
yeah.
like 2000.
Yep.
2000, like 2004.
Mhm.
When he's got the
Our
black
World War,
ass.
Our World at War was circa
2001.
2001, yes.
Remember Emperor Joker?
And then because
President
right
Lex?
around President Lex, and then that's also the era that's the black ass Superman, so that's also the era of what's so funny about True Justice in the American Way, Action 775.
Emperor
Sir
Joker.
Al.
Best issues ever.
Emperor
So that's
Joker,
the Super-
guys. Emperor Joker doesn't get
Remember
any
Joker?
love. Yes.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff in that era.
Yeah.
So that would be the Sir L era also too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That would be that's the McGinnis stuff too. So yeah,
Yeah.
The Supergirl.
Yeah, I remember
Everybody
that.
forgot.
the Sir L Steel X
Oh God.
when Nat was Steel.
Yep.
Steel X.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I remember that too.
Oh yeah. Wasn't that during? It was 52, right?
No, Nat was Steel X circa 1999 to 2001. That's when she had the metal costume with the metal braids.
Yep.
With like
yep.
with like the Majin Buu like head tail thing.
Yeah.
'Cause that was in like the Public Enemy story.
Oh, since we're talking about the past, can I at least just laugh at the fact that because there's nothing been shot yet of the HBO Max Green Lantern series, they fucking use CGI from Ryan Reynolds' movie.
Oh
Probably.
appreciate the effort. The Green Lanterns exist in that universe.
I couldn't realize that Taika Waititi was the best friend in that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was Pie Face.
Yes.
Oh, Tom Kalmaku, I believe it is. His
Yeah.
Christian name.
You know what else I realized, friends, is that it's been so long since we recorded that I haven't been able to tell you how much I hated the latest Star Wars movie.
Hey.
Yeah, it's a disappointment. Real
Oh,
disappointment.
man.
I saw it twice.
I thought it was okay.
It is the first of these new series of movies that I only saw once, and I had no desire to see it a second time.
After the trash fire that was The Last Jedi, I didn't have high expectations for
You know
this
what?
one.
After
Screw
the
you, okay.
excellence that
Screw
was The
you.
Last
Let it
Jedi.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. After the
Here's the thing for
excellence
me.
that was The Last Jedi, I was hoping for much better, and I did not get it.
Here, the problem is they handed the movie off to the guy whose movie was blown up by The Last Jedi.
Yes.
Mhm.
So what was he going to do except go, no, this is what I want to do. I'm going to introduce this plot point, this plot point, this plot point, this plot point.
Yeah.
Forget this one.
Yeah.
Forget that one. Oh, Rosico, psh, whatever. This one. Look, I want to do this. It was going to be so cool, guys. It's going to be so cool. I'm going to play in this one.
JJ, calm down.
Yeah, that's what we got.
Yeah.
And, there are entertaining points in Rise of Skywalker that I thought I was amused by it. I thought they were fun. But when you take the trilogy as a whole, it is fucking painful.
Well, because they didn't have any overall plan, and that's
Exactly.
Kathleen Kennedy's fault.
Oh,
Yeah,
that is
That's not
definitely Kathleen
Abrams'
Kennedy's
fault.
fault.
That's Kathleen
No,
Kennedy's fault.
it isn't.
Yes.
That's the thing.
Blame
This
the
isn't J.J.
woman.
Abrams' fault.
No, it is her fault. She's supposed to head it up. It
Yeah, no,
should have
I'm
been
saying-
her thing from the start is say,
Yeah,
hey, what are
she-
you guys doing over at Marvel? Oh, you have a plan? And who's in charge of that plan? Kevin Feige. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
That's
so
the
I
thing.
should have a plan, and I should be in charge of it? Yes.
I don't think
Okay.
she's good. I don't think she's good at being in charge. I think she needed someone else. I think Dave Filoni should be in charge of Star Wars, as a
Yes.
story, because
Yes.
Filoni fucking gets it. Between The Mandalorian and Clone Wars, he just gets it.
Clone
I
Wars.
heard
I mean, Clone Wars
Rebels-
is great, but this new season of Clone Wars is severely lacking.
Yeah, but
they're all. It's all. What's it called? Episodes. They're all. They're all.
Episode 2.5.
It's like
Yeah,
thrown
'cause-
away episodes that
yeah,
never got
there's-
made, basically.
Yeah, they're all spec scripts. That's why.
I mean,
Yeah.
I,
That's the thing.
I heard people going after Kathleen Kennedy well before Rise of Skywalker came out. So my knee-jerk reaction to people throwing shade at her is yeah, okay, whatever, bro. But Brent's right.
No, it's
when it became
not because she's a woman or whatever. It's because literally
There was
your
no
one
vision.
job is to have a vision.
And
yeah,
If you can't
precisely.
do that, or hire somebody who does and keep them around for a trilogy or whatever the universe you
Yeah.
want to call it, then you
It's because
fail.
It was. I was so jazzed after Force Awakens, and I only saw Last Jedi once. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I love the idea that that we were going someplace, and where they ended up with Kylo Ren and stuff. It's just I'll never forget when they say Rey Palpatine, and I was like. Can you believe this shit? I looked over my brother, and he was well deep into face palming.
it is very sad to me that I left that theater thinking to myself, I wonder what Colin Trevorrow would have done.
dude, seriously.
And
So
And I'm not a Colin Trevorrow fan overall. I think Jurassic World is okay. I thought Jurassic World 2, even though he only executive produced it, was a goddamn trash fire of a movie. And I know he's a bit of an asshole in real life, and that's one of the reasons why he got fired from the damn thing in the first place. But the spec script that he had that leaked onto the internet, and I hate that we're dealing with fucking spec script leaks again and release the Snyder Cut level bullshit.
Release the JJ cut. I couldn't believe my eyes.
I know. When I saw release the
boy.
JJ
Yeah.
cut, I wanted to fucking throw my computer out the window. It was
I'm coming, Elizabeth.
it was really, really bad. But part of me wonders, the what if is there. What if Colin Trevorrow's script would seem to be a lot more cohesive and following what came before it than the reconstructionist bullshit that was this movie. What it would have been had they at least just kept his script a little bit.
This
Yeah,
is
that's the
probably
thing.
Screenplays I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was so apologetic.
Oh yeah.
In ways that didn't have to be. I mean, like I can't believe what they did to Kelly Marie Tran in this.
No,
So,
that was the
It's a
biggest
freaking
bullshit.
like.
Nah, who cares?
You ever splice a wire together?
Did you what?
Ever splice a wire together
Yeah.
and you don't do it right and you just use duct tape? This is
Yeah.
what this movie is.
Yeah, basically.
This is literally what and it doesn't
Here's the
connect all
thing.
the way, and if you move it the wrong way, it kind of falls apart. This is what this movie is.
Here's the
and
thing.
it-
Like,
It's a
oh, no, go ahead.
it's a goddamn slap in the face
Mm-hmm.
of everyone who actually saw the potential from The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Because there was potential there, and you may not like it, okay, but it was there.
Yeah.
All right,
And you
and
know what?
it's set up. You had this idea of, you know what? Sure, raising nobody. I was down for that. You know why? Because not everyone has to be somebody in Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's the best part about the characters. They were all, unless your name is Leia, you're all fucking nobodies. No one cares about you.
I'm so happy that that one of my favorite movies of 2019 was a Rian Johnson movie, because
Yeah.
he's
Thank
become,
you.
he's become one of my favorite directors, and Knives Out was goddamn delightful.
A donut hole.
Like Ryan Johnson had an idea. He had a vision. He had something to say in the movie, and he said it in the freaking trailer.
And
This is not going to go the way you plan.
right, but
And no one freaking listened to him.
and yes, even if they had gotten JJ to do it or somebody else, like whatever, like Brent, you got to admit, man, like the movie was reconstructionist bullshit. Like, mind you, yes, Ryan Johnson did a bunch of stuff on his own to reconstruct, but like when one movie says, your parent is nobody, and then almost immediately after that, the next movie is like, oh hey,
Because it chose to be.
You know how your parents are nobody? Well, guess what?
Palpatine has returned. How did
Palpatine
Palpatine return?
Palpatine returned in a
Cloning,
freaking
dark science,
No.
secrets only the Sith knew.
No. Even better. Palpatine returned in a video game leading up. That wasn't even a Star Wars video game. He returned. His speech returned in a fucking video game, and you didn't include it in the goddamn movie.
Like, this is like,
Yeah, that was sad.
like
I mean, I'm not defending Rise of Skywalker. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, I never cried during any moments. I saw people posting that they were like crying or whatever. I'm like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Like, it was so beautiful or whatever. I was like, okay.
Crying over
I mean,
episode
the
one.
whole idea of Ryan Johnson in the first place,
Yeah.
whatever he did, the same thing that Mark Guggenheim didn't want to follow the Flash thread because some other writer wrote it.
Mhm.
It's the same stupid nonsense bullshit that Ryan Johnson had stuck up his ass about, oh, well, I don't like any of his ideas, so I'm not going to use all of them, or I'm going to use the entire movie to dismantle all of his ideas.
But
It's
he
like,
used his ideas, though. He used
Was Ray's
his
parents
fucking
just really
whatever.
an idea?
Whatever.
No, he did.
It doesn't-
He did. He used his ideas.
he threw them away,
No, he did not.
is
throw
what
them
he
away.
did. He
Okay, really?
did.
How?
The idea of the lightsaber.
He threw them away.
Okay, well,
There was
Yeah,
stuff in
literally,
there
like, he
could've
threw the
picked up
lightsaber
on,
away.
and he was like, nope. And so it was a dismantling of it, not like, hey, what can I do with this and take it and twist it? The
Yeah.
idea that Rey is an important somebody is an idea,
No,
which
it's-
was laid the groundwork in. And then for you to just like, I don't care that she was Palpatine's kid or whatever. I thought it was kind of stupid. But the main thing that I disagree with in The Last Jedi was like, oh, you're nobody, you're nothing. When you literally knew you're going to have, based on that shot, you're going to have people putting like their fan expectations on it. And it's like, it's silly to say, yes, you should listen to fan expectations, but at the same time, it's like, what the response is going to be. So do yourself a fucking favor and figure a way out of the box that you are
here's the thing.
placed in.
If you make her anybody, and I mean you make her anybody in the Star Wars universe. Oh, she's Wedge's niece. Oh, she is
She's a Kenobi. I've heard that
she's a
one a lot.
Kenobi. She's a Palpatine. She's a Dark Lighter. She
But
is
if he'd have made her a
she's
Palpatine or whatever, I would have been signed on for it from the very beginning.
No, because
But
here's
for
the thing.
them to come in and do it, and this one is like dumb, especially
You're
the fact that the book says she's a clone. Ugh.
It's also ripping off Empire Strikes Back.
No, Dark Empire.
No. I mean, the reveal in Rise of Skywalker was very much like Empire Strikes Back,
Oh, okay.
which I thought that like the Ben Kenobi,
I
like,
am your
being
father.
Han Solo was an inversion of that. So it's like we already
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah.
And like I'll disagree vehemently, Brent. I love you. You're one of my best friends, but I vehemently disagree. Okay, and like there is this idea in storytelling that it's a yes and you take something and you can throw it away, sure, but you acknowledge it first. He acknowledged it, all right, and then he said, you know what? Let's kind of let's throw it away.
No,
Wait,
the
hold
rules
on.
of improv is yes and.
Yes,
It's not-
and no,
it's not, okay, no. It's
Wait.
yes and.
no, he didn't say okay. No, he said yes. This happened. This is a thing, but we're not going to use that thing because he wanted to tell a different story.
No.
Yes.
You don't understand.
Oh, really, I don't understand improv. I don't understand improv. Okay,
You're not getting it. It's
I'm not-
not
oh, I-
that.
The thing is, I get what you're both saying.
Yeah.
You're coming at it from different perspectives. Is the thing.
This third movie was Agent Michael Scorn. Okay. It was The Office. It was. Hey, we're at this party. Oh, look, I have an egg for a head. Oh, but I have a gun. Like, no.
Fine, Raid. I'm gonna hump her good.
Exactly.
this was. I'll do one better. This was Michael Klump.
Oh no.
All again.
Oh no.
This was just a bad decision from head to toe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and it's just a minor, just a really minor thing. But like, if you're gonna, so when we first meet Rey, she's a staff user. When we see her fight with the lightsaber, she's not the most graceful, right? How do they pay that all off? Do they give her a double-sided lightsaber? Yes. In a dark side fantasy, when she finally gets her lightsaber, it's a single-bladed lightsaber. Why would she make something she's not familiar? It hurts me.
And like, I'm so upset too. Like, they didn't pay off the whole Leia thing in the way that was.
They didn't pay off a lot.
Okay.
And
And like,
I actually would have been happier had they just not used any Leia scenes. Had they just started the movie with her funeral, rather than try to shoehorn it in, because they used scenes that were left over that had, some of which had already been released as deleted scenes from previous movies, that they reworked to try to make them
They took her
work.
face off of it and the dialogue, and then repasted it over a completely CG like body and hands and stuff. If that's not like resurrecting an actor from the dead, and they're like, "We're not going to do that," then I don't know.
they
What.
do it.
Underestimated droid.
Yeah.
Yep, they do it though.
The only part that I thought was actually pretty cool was the flashback to her and Luke training. That was pretty awesome, and frankly, had that been the only Leia we saw in the entire fucking movie, I would have been okay with that.
I really did like how Maz, what is her name, was like
Maz
narrating to the audience, like, Leia knows what she must do. Are you going to stop her? Like, it's like I hated that. I was like, I felt like I was being treated such an idiot.
Maz also went from being, it's another one of those characters that started off being really frickin' cool, and was then reduced in movies 2 and 3. And yes, Last Jedi did it too, but I know that it was also because she also just was not available to shoot much.
Oh, okay.
But over those the next 2 movies, the character was reduced to nothing. Just like Kelly Marie Tran was reduced to be Leia's
Less than nothing.
Because he had to
Leia's side.
shoehorn all his episode 8 stuff into episode 9.
Yeah.
And
That was
you
the
had
worst
so
thing, 'cause that
much
felt-
plot.
That felt like they cared about like the dude bros who were like harassing her online.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't want people to be mad at our movie, so let's sideline
They'll
her. It's
deny
like,
that.
okay, this is wrong.
They'll deny that until the end of time.
Let's silent her.
But no one liked character or not, no one liked the plot that she was in with the whole gambling thing. So,
Like a plot and a character and an actress.
Here's the thing,
the actress is fine. The character was dumb. The plot was dumb. So it's like, everybody hates Jar Jar Binks. Nobody has a problem with he got sidelined. A lot of people didn't like Rose Tico or the plot she was involved in, or both, and they sideline her. But we get complaints because it's not a CG character. It's a representation thing.
But no. Here's my thing. Sure,
Her character didn't add anything to the movie other than representation, which was good. But overall, she didn't add anything to that movie.
But here's the thing. Okay, so look,
She helped Finn's plotline.
you could
What was the plot line? They got betrayed and didn't go anywhere.
You could redeem the character in the third one because you bring in another character who's also a woman to do the same exact thing that Rose Tico could do. She brings you fucking horses. Why are you doing this? Just redeem the character in a different way.
Yeah.
That's a blatant slap in the face of anyone who actually liked the character, saying, here's a toy. We're gonna put her aside, but here's another toy that looks just like this one. We're gonna use this one instead.
Yeah,
that's what I don't like about that.
And so much was cut from the movie itself. I'm not even talking about Rose stuff. I'm talking about with these new ex-stormtroopers that were introduced.
That was probably an episode 8 plot.
That was an episode 8 plot, but also the fact that there is an earlier version of the script where it just outright blatantly says, and I would have been much happier with this, that girl, because it's really creepy the way that Lando is like, you want to go find out?
I know. In bed?
It's supposed to be his daughter.
Bringing back Lando was dumb.
Yeah, that is supposed to be.
Lando was dumb.
That was supposed to be his daughter.
There is a version.
I thought Finn was his son for
just,
a while.
Who's still alive that we can pull on audiences' heartstrings? Let's bring back Lando, and then let's not actually do anything with him.
I agree. Yeah.
Whether or not Billy D is a good actor or has acted in a while, I don't think he has.
Yeah.
He hasn't.
So I can't say about his acting ability. But just to throw him in there at all,
he's voice acted.
It's just
he hasn't really
waste.
acted because he voice acted a little bit for, I think, what was it, Rebels?
Yes, he voice acted. Yes, he did Lando in Rebels.
Yeah. So he's done occasional things here and there, but nothing like not much live action stuff.
And that episode of Rebels was season 2 or 3, so that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just overall, man, like I've got franchise burnout.
It was a circle jerk the whole time.
Look, agree, disagree. There are ways you can tell a story and throw things out which make sense, okay? I get it. This was a huge apology fest to those who didn't like The Last Jedi. And that's fine. Not every movie has to appease a majority of the fans. But don't insult the fans by bringing in new contrived ways to tell your story because you want to do something different and quote unquote cool because you don't like the last story. All right, like why is the idea of dyads a thing now?
That's the same thing as you're saying. The same thing as I would say about Rey's parentage.
I never thought that was a mystery though from the first movie. I never thought they were seeding that to be a mystery.
Yeah, like it's thing.
They were eventually going to reveal
something. She could have just been a person on a desert planet, but the fact that they set up that her parents abandoned her and you never saw their faces, and here's the thing, and then you have this weird mystery shit with Maz Kanata, you were chosen, all this other crap, that's setting up a mystery.
For me, I thought it was, your parents abandoned you? Like, so, look, when they said, you're nobody, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, cool, that makes sense.
They abandoned you for drinking
because your parents were shitty. They left you on a planet to die. They got away. They don't want to take you.
If that's the true intent, then they should have done it in the first movie. That's Abrams' fault.
Also, it makes no sense
something else there.
It makes no sense that Luke and Leia knew the entire time because Luke would have nothing to do with her in the last movie if he knew that.
Mm-hmm.
That makes no sense.
Here's the thing, because I rewatched The Last Jedi right after Rise of Skywalker. He comments on how quickly she embraces the dark side.
He said, "Yeah." So
if you want to, if you take all 3 movies together, which I really don't want to, but you have to, it's sort of a foreshadowing that she has an affinity to the dark side, which Kylo does, play off of to get her to force lightning that ship.
So does Luke.
Yeah,
Luke. Yeah, because of his father, Anakin. Because Anakin did turn to the dark side. He was Darth Vader. So, yeah, that's the thing. So he recognizes that. And that's what he recognized in Kylo. He recognized the dark side in Kylo because it runs in the family.
Can I just say that I'm really, really glad that Palpatine doesn't fuck?
Yes, thank God. Well, he does. A version of him does.
Do it.
Doesn't that make Rey his niece and not his
No, because he's his son?
But he's not.
Palpatine's
He's a clone.
Fucked. The fucking clone's son fucked and begat Rey.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
But the clone banged his own self, though.
He's her uncle.
The clone banged a version of itself. That's
wait. So like,
her granddaughter.
Is your clone your brother or your child?
That's Ben Reilly.
That's a good.
They're like sort of pseudo siblings, right? Ben Reilly and Peter Parker. Yeah. So that means that Ben Reilly's kid would be Peter's niece, somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
So Ray is his niece, and the whole movie just fell apart.
And this is why,
because of what I said, not because of on its own.
And this is why we shouldn't think about it too damn hard, because if we do,
dude, me and my brother have been all we've done ever since that movie came out is play Battlefront 2 and bitch about this trilogy. Okay, so
look,
don't get me started.
I knew this movie was doomed when Kathleen Kennedy said, "You know what? There's not a lot of resources to tell from Star Wars stories." I'm like, excuse you?
Fuck you.
There's 25 years. There are 25 years worth of books out there. You can look at them.
Yeah.
And they literally stole from Dark Forces. I'm sorry, not Dark. Yeah, they literally stole from Dark Forces.
They basically bastardized the Jason and Jaina story.
Yeah.
That's what Ray and Ben are.
There's just not enough story to make up a card show. It's just you can't. Oh wait, they did. Huh? How about that? And by the way, The Mandalorian is just way better than this entire movie franchise now of Star Wars.
The Mandalorian is mediocre at best.
Oh,
it is.
Casino.
You spend 3 episodes doing an arc, and then you don't do anything in the middle episodes, and then you spend the last 2 episodes doing more with that arc. It's like, are we doing an overarching story arc or not? Are we doing one and done? It's like
it's a western. It's Lone Wolf and Cub. It's a western.
Yeah, that's kind of how westerns are.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
and like it's decompressed, quote unquote, for lack of a better term, storytelling.
Yeah.
Really.
No, it screams of we don't have the budget, so we spend all of our money on this technology, or we spend all of our money on this technology with this video game background bullshit, and then now we don't have the budget to do an actual story.
Look,
that's what season 1 screams to me of. We spent all this money in this tech to make this show for cheap, and then we couldn't actually do anything really that neat in the first seasons except for the first 2 episodes and the last 2.
Every single episode had a movie budget. So that's not actually the case. Like,
yeah, look, and if there's anyone who can squeeze a budget better, it's Jon fucking Favreau. The man made Iron Man on a shoestring budget.
With a box of scraps.
He beat me to it. In box of scraps.
Damn it. And the last episode, the one that Taika Waititi directed, was easily my favorite of the entire series.
Oh, yeah, there were 2 good episodes in all the holiday episode run.
Which still
3 in the last one.
Which still makes it better than the movies.
I really like the Cara Dune episode, the first one.
Mm-hmm. That was good. Yeah.
Yeah, they told a really good story. It's basically, all it is like little Western vignettes, and then you have the background plot of he has to keep the baby safe.
Yeah, like you
can only do so much with the A plot.
Yeah.
It's little House
on Prairie. Give me Western vignettes, then give me an interesting character.
It's Little
give
House
me something to bite on. There's nothing to bite on. Yoda doesn't talk. Mandalorian's not that interesting because he can't take his mask off or show any emotion because he's fucking rules. Because you have to make him a Mandalorian, and
we learn a lot about him.
We don't have an interesting story other than I'm trying to keep the baby safe for some reason.
Well, his family was murdered in front of him by the Techno Union or by the CIS or whatever.
Not to mention the actor is just doing the voice. There's no way that guy's on set doing all that shit. They have an interview with a stuntman on Vulture who was like, "Oh yeah, I developed the walk. I developed all this other stuff." So like. What's his face from Game of Thrones is barely even on set, probably.
Pedro
Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But hold on. And also, too, they're paying off on not a throwaway Rebels plot, but like a major plot point from Rebels, which is unheard of because normally you ignore cartoons.
Right.
Ideally.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're bringing in spoilers, the Darksaber. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
that was the most badass part of it. And yes, it was in the last episode, and yes, as Casina said, that's one of the 2 best episodes of the series. I don't know. For me, the entire story worked, but I can also understand your point, Casina, because you're not the only person that I've met who has said that it was too slow moving and that they couldn't get around the character because you couldn't see his face emote. It's just basically it's whether or not you're in whole hog on it. And
I mean, I don't have to have his face emote, but he could have his face not be there, but he could have a fucking personality.
Fair.
It's like, let's give me a dead character and we'll have him walk around and he would be as interesting as the Mandalorian is in this show.
Yeah.
Ever play Halo?
But that's a video game, so that's a little bit different.
No, I mean, it's the same thing.
Speaking of...
Gordon Freeman is not that interesting, but that video game is great. But I'm not playing it for Gordon Freeman's character because I'm crazy about the idea of a scientist in an orange jumpsuit running around and shooting guys.
See, I play him for the game, for the overall overarching story. But there you go. So we're looking for two different things out of the same thing. That's all.
Raph, were you going to say that we're getting a Halo TV series?
No.
We're never getting that TV series.
I know.
Battlefront 2, the current Battlefront 2, there's a character you can play in single story mode, Iden Versio. We're getting her in the second season of Mandalorian.
Have you listened to her book?
Did you play that whole story? It sucked.
Her whole story sucks, but have you listened?
But it's cool that they're crossing over characters.
But have you read the book though? The book is actually.
I haven't read the book yet.
The book is pretty badass, actually.
Okay.
I'll
pick up the book everything.
Yeah, it's very being a bad guy, and then within 2 missions, she's gonna flip sides. Fuck that.
Well, they did destroy her homeworld, so
that was the reason because they didn't want her to make her a bad guy. They gotta come up with a reason. So they wrote themselves out of the box creatively, which, unlike Ryan Johnson did, he just threw the box away.
He acknowledged the box.
No, you don't. You put the box there, you got to open the box. If you hang a gun on the wall in the first act, it's got to go off in the second. That's the screenwriting rule. It's not mine.
Yes, Chekhov's nuclear vessels. I mean, gun.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Yeah. Nuclear vessels.
Yes,
I like how you absolve yourself of the responsibility of the Chekhov's gun rules. And I didn't come up with it. Don't blame me.
All right. You know what? Hold on. Before we go any further, Brent, let's talk about something you liked. Let's make sure we get at least one thing that you wholeheartedly enjoyed in this episode, because I feel like
I don't think there's a lot of things that I've wholeheartedly enjoyed lately.
Something, anything, please, or at least something you enjoyed a little bit. What do we got, man? What else do you want to bring up?
I'm sure his family loves him.
That's true. That's true.
I'll hold your son now.
Oh man, have you been reading stuff lately, man? Like what you been up to?
I've been reading stuff. I'm not that crazy about a whole lot of stuff right now. Even Curse of the White Knight, as much as I want to love the Asbats and Azrael stuff, it feels like a secondary character because it's still about Joker.
That sucks.
And I'm like, why did you tease us with Azrael for 6 months while you're drawing it, and then turn him into Asbats very, very quickly, only to throw him away in the next issue?
Because they wanted you to buy it.
Yeah, they worked.
How about your helmet?
I like my helmet.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw your review.
There you go. It's nice. And helmet.
It is very nice. Best helmet they've created. Doesn't have that gaping maw staring at you.
Gaping maw. I like that.
Someone's been watching Critical Role.
What?
See, no, he hasn't, and neither have I, mind you. I'm an acquisitions guy. I'm Acquisitions Incorporated all the way. That's my jam.
Why not both?
Because I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Shit's way too fucking long.
I mean, I stay up till like 1, 2 a.m. to watch it on Thursday. Listen, doable.
I am too busy mindlessly watching YouTube videos to watch Critical Role, okay?
To be fair, you watched 700 television shows more than I do.
To be fair, really, number one.
To be fair.
Because I only watched like 3 shows, and I don't. I'd lie and I pretend. I promise I'll watch these other shows, and they just sit in my queue, and they never get watched.
Like I did like Watchmen, but I wasn't in love with it.
Oh,
I'll take that.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It started off really slow, and I was behind, and then I found out that surprise who Dr. Manhattan was, and then I was like, okay, now I have to watch it to find out what's going on, and then but it was still again there. It wasn't really until like the 3rd to last, 4th to last episode out of the 8, so you're over 50% in, that it really started to get kind of interesting.
So
all right.
It got me after the first episode is admittedly slow, but it intrigued me. I think by the time you get to the end of episode 2, it completely had me hooked. And that Dr. Manhattan episode, like, if you
it was great.
It's amazing. Had you told me that Alan Moore had ghostwritten that episode, I would have believed you, because it fucking feels like Watchmen more than anything has felt like Watchmen sequel-wise, prequel-wise, anything since the
What about the
actual
movie?
Fuck the movie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
High five.
no, the movie's all right. The movie's decent. The director's cut is the best version of it, but it's still all right. This to me is definitive. Like everything that feels Watchmen, it got right. And I'm glad that Lindelof is just ending it with a season, because I feel like a second season would just water it down. But for all I know, there will be one eventually.
That's such a
do you hear that?
responsible thing to do.
Yeah.
Hold on. Do you hear that, Ian?
What?
That truck backing up with all that money in it?
Oh, God damn it. Okay. God damn it, Brendan. No. Divert the truck.
Beep, beep, beep.
I mean, it's kind of weird that he developed a show people actually want to watch as opposed to The Leftovers, but he doesn't want to do it. But a show that no one wants to watch, like The Leftovers, he would have done forever.
I
Here's the thing, like,
adore The
It's a
Leftovers.
needless shot.
Fuck
No,
you.
no,
Fuck
it's
you
not-
so
It was
hard.
just for Ian.
Fuck you
It was
so
just for
hard. The
Ian.
Leftovers is one of my favorite shows of all time.
I know.
You go to hell and you
I
go to
know.
hell and you die.
But Lindelof used that he didn't want to do the show when it got offered to him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he had.
Really?
Like here's the thing. He has such a reference to the source material that he says, I can't do this.
Yeah,
That is first humbling, number
Mm-hmm.
one,
Yeah.
because you don't see that in Hollywood. Because you'll see people, oh yeah, I'll fucking do it. I'll make it the best thing ever, and then they'll fail. Like
With
I
blackjack
think
and hookers.
exactly. Like Lindelof had such a reference to the material, and he waited till he could tell a story that had to be told right now.
and most importantly, he actually got writers of color, women, and other people to give him ideas and opinions and tell him when he was being an idiot. Because
As opposed to Tyler Perry.
yes, because unlike unlike with other scenarios, he actually took the time to actually get other people's voices. And if you have not listened to the Watchmen Companion podcast, do yourself a favor and listen to it, because each episode touches on I think 3 episodes of the show, if I remember correctly. And I learned so much more about the behind the scenes of like how he developed it, and how he chose to to go into the past the way he did, and the fact that anybody who says like, oh, what's this white guy doing talking about like the most important atrocity in the history of Black America, which I believe that is definitely the case with what happened to Black Wall Street. He said, like, yeah, I know people are going to feel that way, but again, it was not just me. I made sure that I had other voices here to ensure that everything felt genuine, and that it wasn't just like a white guy talking about blackness. And I really appreciate that.
And that's why I was hooked from episode 1.
Yeah.
Black Wall Street. Because so before you watched The Watchmen, did you? Has anyone else heard of Black Wall Street before that?
Nope. No, I hadn't. In fact, I actually thought for a minute that it was created for the show. I'm not even kidding about that until I looked it up on the internet, and I researched it, and I read like at least like 4 articles.
Yeah,
on
we
that,
both
in
looked it up
fact.
because we watched it together.
Yeah, I was floored about that happening, and it's one of the most closed-lipped we can't talk about this things that's ever happened in America, and he went and talked about it.
I know you probably knew about it before the show, right?
Honestly, no.
Really? Okay. So my mom has a book on her coffee table at her house called Black Wall Street, and it's a paperback coffee table book, and it details all about what happened with Black Wall Street. And I knew about it since I was a little kid. So, but to see it on the show, and is it like you don't expect the show to go there, and when it goes there, your jaw just drops. You just like, I can't believe they fucking went there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're telling a story that is pertinent to people like me, and it was like, I don't cry much when watching TV series or watching movies. I've only cried like once or twice, like in a movie. of my own volition. I'll tell you right now, I am a sympathetic crier, so if I see someone crying, I'll start crying. Mm-hmm. But I've never been really moved by a movie. The first time I got moved by a movie was in Black Panther, when the first scene at Warrior Falls, when you see everybody there, and I'm like, oh my god, there's so many people that look like me. And the second time I ever cried in the show was Watchmen, when they show you what happened at Black Wall Street, and that was,
oh my god,
it affected me because I've dealt with racism my whole entire life. Mm-hmm. I've dealt with segregation my whole entire life. You know, I've jokingly told you about comments I've heard in my lifetime.
Sure,
but you know, when you see your history in front of you, actual history too, it just hits you a different way, and that's what got me.
Yeah. What did you think about the Hooded Justice reveal?
So that was like I was like thinking like, yeah, why it would. Because if you go back and read the books, you're thinking, oh, Hooded Justice never took his mask off, right?
Yeah.
Even in pictures, even in the scenes when he's with other heroes, mm-hmm. always had the mask and the hangman's noose.
Yeah.
And it was and I knew it was a throwaway thing originally from by Alan Moore. Alan Moore wasn't really thinking about, you know, let's make him a black guy. It was like, oh, that's an interesting costume design there.
He was said to be Jewish, I think, in the original text.
Right.
But mind you, you know, it's certainly possible that what was it, the original? I think it was the original Night Owl mentioned that in his memoir. But at the same time, he could have easily been bullshitting, or maybe he was just, you know, putting out a theory out there.
Yeah. I thought the theory was that he was a Russian circusman.
There have been a bunch of different ideas or theories. Yeah, I think it was a Russian Jewish circusman. I think that's what Night Owl had him pegged as.
Who was sympathetic to the Third Reich?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, but it did that one little tweak and one little change brought so much pathos to the character.
Oh yeah.
Like it kind of reminds me of like remember Blue Marvel from
created by Kevin Graveau.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that's what they remind me of, because of course if you're a hero of color in the 1940s and 50s, when you are working in either the Jim Crow South, or you're working pretty much any major society where it's segregated, you can't show your face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, and to take a symbol of hatred
mm-hmm.
and to make it your own symbol, that is that character right there. That was another that was the stand-up episode of the series.
It made so much sense too, just overall, because like you said, you know, I'm sure, you know, Alan Moore was not thinking about that when he created the character, especially you know, Dave Gibbons when he created the costume. I'm sure he was not even thinking about that. It's just when you put two and two together, it just makes sense, and
mm-hmm.
it made such narrative sense in the show. And the way they pulled it off with the drug she took, what was it called?
No, Nostalgia.
Nostalgia. Thank you. Yeah, the trip that Regina King is on, just it's beautiful how they weaved that in and out to tell the story. You know, like having her like appear and disappear into her grandfather's memories, like that. It's just goddamn perfect. And I'll also mention Jeremy Irons as Ozymandias. Like, the man is always great, but his Ozymandias was
acting. He was acting
the fuck off of it. Like, so goddamn good. Like, everybody. Tim Blake Nelson as Lookingglass.
Gene Smart, really?
Gene Smart was terrific. Don Johnson, for the short amount of time that we got to see him, had made a believable character, and then when we find out more about the character, it's holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
The whole cast as an ensemble was beautiful, and it's one of these shows that I feel like I'm going to go back to like every couple of years and rewatch. It's been about 5 or 10 years since I read Watchmen, and it might be time for me to read it again. Which leads me to ask the question: who read Doomsday Clock?
I did.
I did.
I'm finished.
Okay.
Nope.
Donovan and Brent. I'm not asking you to compare it because obviously they're two very different things. But of the Watchmen sequels, which of the two works best for you?
I mean, the TV one works ultimately better because you're not trying to. Doomsday Clock fails in that it's trying to cram Watchmen into the DC universe or vice versa.
Yeah.
And it kind of does both and nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
Because at the end, all the pieces are set back on the board. Watchmen goes back to their own Watchmen universe, and then Dr. Manhattan isn't defeated, isn't victorious, but then just realizes, oh, I've been wrong all along. My biggest problem with the Doomsday Clock is, unlike Watchmen, which set up a mystery in the very beginning and kind of led you through that path and then laid down different cards issue to issue to issue, you know, and not, I guess it was like Watchmen to me is a little meandering because you're not really focused on, you're so involved with the characters and their story. You're not really focused on the A-plot of who killed the comedian per se, but you're not involved with the characters in Doomsday Clock. You're given a bunch of new characters whom you're supposed to get involved with, but you can't because you're kind of expecting, I don't know, the Watchmen characters, I guess. And then the A-plot of where is Dr. Manhattan and what has he done isn't really pulled on until issue number, the last half of issue 10 and 11 and definitely 12.
And it took 94 years to come out.
And it took forever to come out, and the art is definitely worth looking at.
Yeah.
They did a good job, but I think them aping Dave Gibbons' style, not style, but storytelling style with a 9-panel grid, I think did them more of a, I don't know, it felt more slavish homage than it did like sequel or, you know, we're going to try and accomplish something the way that the TV show, you know, didn't have to do, I guess, because it was a different medium, but they still found ways to make it feel like Watchmen.
Yeah.
Where Doomsday Clock utterly failed in that. And I think it's one of Jeff Johns' worst stories.
Oof. Jeez. I'm gonna read it. I have all 12 issues downloaded to the iPad, and I've read I think 4 of them, you know, when they came out 12 years ago. So I will have to reread from the beginning because I have no idea where I left off, and I have no idea even particularly which issue I finished off on. So I'll read the whole damn thing again. And I've heard very mixed things about it. I've heard from some people that it's an excellent read when you sit down and read them as 12. However, I've also felt like it's a missed opportunity from other people that I've seen review it, since a lot of the stuff that the series sets up has already been done in the DC universe because they moved on since Jeff Johns was taking forever on this thing. You know, Legion of Superheroes has already been
introduced.
Yeah.
The back matter in this, like, you know, Watchmen has the back matter, and it's like 4, 5, 6 pages sometimes of text.
Yeah.
Most of the time. In Doomsday Clock, it's there, and they do like the first 2 or a couple of the issues. They actually have text for you to read, and sometimes it's like, what is this about? What is this? And then other times it's like, oh, literally, we took 2 pictures of quote unquote files that were spilled out of the secrets, and there's like a couple lines of text on this little page and this little page for most of the issues. Like, it's like they're not even trying to build something, and so that's where I was like, okay, if you're gonna ape the style, then fucking ape the style and nail it. Do back matter that matters. But if you're not gonna even try, just tell a freaking story where the Watchmen come in and have it be a balls out slam slugfest or whatever you want it to be. But like, just pick one and do it well.
I'll point out for fans of the Watchmen TV show, if you want back matter, there outside of the podcast that's actually in the universe, there's a website called PDpedia, which is essentially a wiki for the Watchmen universe that goes further in depth on things that are unraveled within the show, and also of the history of the side timeline. that's being presented there. So if you have not checked out PDpedia, you should go ahead and do that. But yeah, Donovan, what'd you think of Doomsday Clock?
Well, how much do you want me to get into like the spoilers since you've not read it?
Dude, you're more than welcome to. I've been mostly spoiled already, so be my guest.
So
You've got 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking long. It's a very flawed series, much in the way because how late it was and all that kind of stuff. I can't deny that. At the end of the day, I do appreciate it in what Johns is going for. I mean, Johns was doing his best Halloween cosplay Alan Moore impression, and I almost I kind of respect that. Just on a writing ambition kind of thing, and I thought the art was very good. I do respect it for how it kind of settles the cyclical nature of DC's continuity, like when they're getting to the whole in 1938 Superman, 1950 something Superman, 1986 Superman, 2011 Superman, then later on it's the idea that the DC universe keeps rebooting, but there's going to be characteristic truths about it. I thought, okay, that's cool. Let's settle this continuity in this way once for all. We know it's going to change later, sooner or later. But the idea is that there's an intrinsic truth to it. I thought that was actually really, really cool. I think that there's not really the integrity of the story. It's a little Swiss cheesy because of the whole bringing the Watchmen, because the way that he writes Dr. Manhattan's character by the end doesn't feel legitimate to me. But I like it for more what it does to DC than it does to Watchmen. And although I think this thing was kind of verboten to begin with, I did enjoy the DC elements where it ended up. So I mean, I was digging it by the end.
All right, fair enough. In the end, I think even if I do enjoy it, I'm going to look at it as a missed opportunity. The Legion of Superheroes have been reintroduced already. Justice Society's been reintroduced already. All the shit that was being set up here had this thing just come out on time. DC had to move on. They could not wait for this thing to come out because it was handcuffing the universe, and just depends on who you want to blame for that. But in the end, when a book is really frickin' late, you can't let it stop you from doing things. So that's the way I feel about it, and why I have not finished it yet, because I just. I basically threw my hands up after the first delay, and I'm like, what, screw this. I'll wait till it's all out, and I'll read it in one package. So that's that. All right, gentlemen, it is late, and I appreciate the fact that we gabbed forever here, since it has been forever since we recorded. Are there any other final topics that you want to quick shoot out there before we wrap up, or are we good to go?
I have an episode of Questions We Don't Have Answers where we talk about Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
With Professor Carolyn Coca and Stella, the Batgirl Oracle podcast. Mm-hmm. Check that out at kinoengines.com, just because we have no time to talk about it here.
I didn't like that movie.
Yeah, Harley Quinn Birds of Prey was fun. That's the way I would describe it. Was all right. Yeah, it was fun. I had a fun time. It was fun. I think in the end, and this is a really weird statement for me to make, and I never thought I'd be able to say these words, I like Sonic the Hedgehog better.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
I think Sonic was a little cheesier.
Yeah.
And
because it wasn't R-rated.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
It's not. Yeah, Sonic is a great kids movie.
It is.
But everything was super predictable to me, and I just didn't. I liked it, but I wasn't into it.
I had a chili dog.
So a kids movie?
I had a chili dog with golden onion rings.
I did too. I loved that. That was so good.
Yes.
You need to do onion rings more often.
I agree. Alamo Drafthouse, you kick ass. But yeah, Harley Quinn Birds of Prey was fun.
Everybody's right, damn it.
Suicide Squad, I hope is better. Let's put it that way.
I mean, of the DC movies, it's probably in the middle.
Yeah.
To the upper middle.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean?
It's like Aquaman level for me.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
So it's the pectoral level?
Yes.
Aquaman was better than this.
I put this a little higher than Aquaman. Just for the Huntress stuff more than anything else. I think that character actually was really cool.
Actually, yeah, as an action like a stunt like aficionado, The action scenes were really good.
Yeah.
They're some of the best in superhero movies.
It-
I usually complain about something in every single Marvel movie. Didn't complain about a single stunt in this movie.
And I'll mention that they actually brought in the director of John Wick to direct a bunch of the action scenes in this, which is why those action scenes were as enjoyable as they were. I wish the plot was as enjoyable as the action scenes. That's probably the best way for me.
The plot was really thin.
Yeah.
But,
That's
I
the very
mean,
first draft,
whatever.
Yeah, and obviously a certain member of the crew of this current podcast, which is that his favorite character got a better experience.
KinoAnswers.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've made my peace with that because, I mean,
There is
I've
no
had-
peace during wartime.
listen. I've already been through Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I've done. I did none of this stuff affects me anymore. Like Thanos could have ripped Thor in half. Thor's my favorite Marvel character, besides Darkhawk. He could have ripped Thor in half in Endgame. It wouldn't bother me anymore. I'm totally numb to this stuff.
Yeah.
Man of Steel helped with that. I just don't care. You can do what Superman can have his neck snapped by Batman for all I care now. I don't care.
See, this is my kind of like not caring thing because I went through BVS, which I thought was like that's worst it could ever get, and like this.
No,
was-
exactly. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
BVS was worse.
Now-
I mean, I'm
this
just saying
time
Man of Steel was the
I'm-
beginning of the end for me.
Hey,
Like,
Yeah.
Dono, I paid for 2 tickets.
I was just
for
gonna
BVS.
say, brother. I was just gonna
I
say.
paid for 2 tickets.
I paid for 2 tickets for
I
for
drove.
BVS.
Yes,
I drove 5 hours to see it with friends.
Lucky for me,
I took a
Diamond
bus.
took me.
I took a bus 2.5 hours to see it with my good friend Brandon.
I'm gonna listen to that.
I remember that.
Yes.
I remember
we
you guys
talked about
like,
it
like, what was
afterwards.
that?
Yep. And hey, it was at a nice movie theater, which I think might be closing if I remember reading the Philadelphia
It's
News correctly.
gone.
That's a shame. Sucks because that was a really good theater.
Well, it's U City, so
Yeah. But yeah, no, we had a good time recording about a bad movie. So that was, that was
In a park.
in a park. That's what that was.
Didn't
all
we do
about.
an episode together, like after that too?
We did.
Yep.
Yes, we did. We spliced it together. Yeah.
Right.
But quick before final wrap up. Just in general, do we care about the Black Widow movie?
yeah.
See,
I care a little bit.
Okay.
I mean,
This
I'm
last
not.
trailer actually made me interested, but
Yeah.
it's not going to matter because she's dead.
Hey, no,
We
don't know.
Well, maybe Yelena. I mean, you always do stuff with Yelena.
Yelena
And-
Belova.
And what do you call it?
So she was evil.
I want to see what Hopper's been up to since the Russians got him.
That's true. Well, you'll find that out in the next season of Stranger Things. Not
No, it's Black Widow's the setup to the next season of Stranger Things.
No, she's not. You motherfucker.
Just get alcohol out of the table.
I will say that I'm not convinced that she's dead. Let's put it that way. I think
There's always ways out.
I'm thinking more and more and more
Out of the
that,
Soul Stone? That's pretty definitive.
Skrull.
There's plenty of ways out.
Adam
like
Warlock.
you can clone her. The Red Room cloned her, even.
That's
you know,
true.
and
That's
and
also
then
a
it
good
turns
point.
out that Ray is her granddaughter. You know, whatever.
Well, no,
diet.
What
dude.
if
You do realize
Scarlett
the clone
Johansson
thing
comes back as Asian Psylocke?
Oh God, fuck you.
In the-
That would be
No.
awesome. She
That-
gets Quanten's body. That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
and then she can just like talk about it to no end.
As- Yeah.
No. She
Especially-
comes back as Major Katsuragi from
Yeah,
from Ghost in the Shell.
First that.
She's Altered Carbon season 3 after
Oh my
this.
God.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
And
no.
then also she went
Listen.
to the magician's
She could
school.
be Falcon.
She is my favorite Asian tree actress. Okay, leave her alone.
And the clone thing actually happened in the fucking comics. Like
Oh, I know.
it's
Dude,
so,
yeah,
She
totally.
was light from Secret Empire.
yeah. She
She died in Secret Empire and came back.
yeah she
Like literally 2 months later.
yeah.
I
But
know.
she's a clone.
But she's not she's a clone, so she's a different Black Widow, but she's still the same
don't-
Black Widow. She
I
slices.
don't understand how they're going to do
she
Secret Invasion if they make these scrolls out to be good guys.
Oh.
It's just
I'm guessing
one
it's
set of
factions.
scrolls.
I'm
Oh.
guessing there's multiple factions of the scrolls like they're on the comics.
It's the Secret Invasion scrolls are a fanatical cult version of the scrolls.
Yeah.
She loves you.
Yeah.
If it turns out that they're using Captain Marvel 2 to introduce Rogue into the Marvel Cinematic, and that's our first X-Man, I am okay with that.
Feige basically
wouldn't
came out and said,
mind.
like, don't expect to see them for years, like, into
I
the
know.
next phase.
I know. I don't believe him.
They made $1 billion. I can't imagine they're going to say like years.
Yeah.
Oh, what $1 million? Not
Captain
Dark
Marvel.
Phoenix. Not Dark Phoenix.
Oh, never mind the X-Men. I thought you meant Captain Marvel. I was like, they're going to sleep on Captain Marvel.
No, they're sleeping on the mutants,
Yeah.
which I think he means an X-Men movie as opposed to like just the mutants. I'm sure we're gonna get little.
Okay, yeah, I heard that too.
We got New Mutants coming out, finally.
thankfully.
And then
After all these decades.
I believe there's going to be a disclaimer at the front of it saying the views expressed by this movie are not necessarily the views expressed by the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it doesn't exist in it.
Man, I remember that when that movie was first filmed when I was like in grade school.
Yeah.
God.
No, that's true. I think it came I think it was being filmed right around the time that I got my Firehouse from the Ghostbusters when I was like 4.
Maisie Williams.
Dude,
Fun
yeah.
fact,
More than.
Anna Taylor-Joy in that movie is actually Anna Taylor-Joy's grandmother.
That's
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah. So all those scenes they
CG,
reshoot,
man.
all those reshoot scenes, they found this girl, Maisie Williams, who looked just like the actress from the original movie.
No,
It's amazing.
Maisie Williams like got a time machine in the middle of her Game of Thrones run, went back in time,
wait.
shot this movie,
Hold
then
on.
got back in the time machine to finish Game of Thrones.
Brent.
And then nobody told her, since she didn't go to the future, nobody told her that the Game of Thrones ending wasn't that good.
Brent, you missed it.
That's dedication.
You missed a obvious Doctor Who joke with Maisie Williams.
I know, I was about to say, it's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't watch Doctor Who, so it's no wonder I missed it.
Okay, I love that season finale, if you saw it.
Yeah.
I know it's controversial, but
I
thought it
have
was
not
awesome.
watched this past season, nor have I watched season before it. I just got way behind, but I look forward to catching up. We'll probably get a month of HBO Max just so I can catch up on Doctor Who. So we'll see about
I
that.
haven't watched since before Clara died.
Oh wow, it's been a while.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
He's the most boring companion.
he also only watches 3 TV shows, so that's there's
Yeah,
there's
exactly. Dude, I'm so behind on every single name a TV show. I'm most likely behind on it.
that. Sliders,
No, I finished that when it aired.
The X-Files.
Yeah, I'm behind.
Okay.
I watched it like every now and then. I never watched it regularly.
Letterkenny.
Never watched it.
Tango and Cash.
I don't think I watched that.
Okay.
I'm
Lethal
caught up in
Lethal
Stranger
Weapon.
Things. I'm caught up on Altered Carbon.
Mhm.
I'm
MASH.
caught up.
MASH. What about MASH?
I'm not caught up in MASH. There's too many episodes, and it was never on enough.
NCIS.
Yeah, okay.
NCIS New Orleans. NCIS Los Angeles.
Yeah, that I'm caught up in. Yeah, I'm caught up in those two. Not the original NCIS.
CSI.
Yeah, okay.
CSI
Why don't you
SVU.
ask me if I'm caught up on Gunsmoke while you're at it?
The Bernie Sanders Show on HBO.
I only watched
Larry
the first
Sanders.
episode.
Larry
No, no.
Sanders.
The Gary Shandling show from HBO.
Oh, whatever.
Kids in the Hall.
Like, I get frozen by my queue because it's so many fucking...
Frozen 2. Have you seen Frozen 2?
No, I haven't even seen the first Frozen.
Oh man, let it go.
What?
Let it go.
Into the unknown.
I have. I clearly have.
All right. Literally, does anybody else have anything to say? We're at 3 hours.
No.
Okay. I
No,
believe
but Raph will still keep talking.
that is true. The fun never ends. Okay. Let's go around the horn. Let everybody know where they can find you and all that fun stuff. We will begin with Donovan.
As always, thank you very much for having me on the show. It's always a lot of fun.
My pleasure.
You can find me on QNoAnswers@gmail.com. I'm sorry. Well, that's the email for the show. QNoAnswers.com for questions we don't have answers. I am Dono DMG1 on Twitter, and Donovan. What is my Instagram? Ask for it. You can find me there.
Wherever it is. Yeah, we'll link to it in the show notes. All right, cool. Raph, you have a podcast again.
Thank you for having me on this terrific show. I am trying to lead a movement that's going to change the world. You can find my podcast, Raph Talk Stuff, on my website, raphdoesstuff.com. All my social media is also the same. And if you have the time, please donate to my cause. Thank you all again.
It sounds like Dan DiDio is a Black Panther.
I was gonna say, like, I know you're going for Bernie, but like, it literally sounds like Dan DeSanders.
I was going for a little bit of both because we did talk about the Dio, so I in my head I modified it a little bit.
Wait, hold on, I got it. Sandadio.
Sandadio. That's it. I was playing San Diego.
That's what happens at 1 a.m. Brandon, where can we find you?
All right. You can find me on Twitter at TheDabadon, TheDabbadon. My podcast email is popcultureclashpodcast@gmail.com. We are on iTunes. I am doing a live play D&D show coming out soon. That is going to be probably released in the next couple weeks, hopefully. We're trying to get a couple episodes under a can. Yes, I know you're about yours, Raph. And that's really about it. Follow my co-host, Ados Baron, at Ados Baron on Twitter. That's about it.
If you ever need a guest star on the D&D, Quinn Shemmerman is available. I'm just saying.
Oh, it's not. I'm not the dungeon master.
Oh, you're not. Oh, sweet. Okay, so you're just playing in it. Got it. Okay, cool.
Quick replug. I also am the producer of the Natural Ones D&D live play game. It's at twitch.tv/natural_ones_.
Nice. All right, Cranky Casino. Where can they find you?
Cranky Casino.
That's your
with
new
a K.
That's your new YouTube name, by the way. Cranky Casino with a K.
No.
I mean, it already has a K, so it'd be Cranky Casino with 2 Ks.
That's true. No.
That's one more away from being comfortable. Uncomfortable. You don't want to add a third one.
Actually,
no.
It's 2 Ks in Cranky.
We're not.
And then
no. All right. You know what? Fuck it. Brent Casino. Where can they find you?
You can find me on the YouTube and on the Facebook. BK's Bullets.
Nice. And on the tweets at Casino B. Sure. And you have an Instagram too, I think, but I'm not.
I retweet a lot. I don't tweet very much.
You're pretty much a retweeter. That's what you do.
Retweets and endorsements.
Yeah. What's your latest video anyway?
I did one. I need to post the other one. I did one on the Asbats cowl I got in the mail yesterday.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very nice. Very nice. And for anybody who has not listened to it yet, by the way, the post right before this one on the Comic Timing site was a Brent Casino-led episode, the best games of 2019. Which you released back in December, so it's still relevant if you're looking to find out some good choices on video games for what Brent and Jim were there to talk about. So check that out on the website, and you can find my stuff at I_AM_sci-fi on Twitter and Instagram. Easy to find in both locations. I've also been a regular on Comic Geek Speak for a while now and continue to be. And I think our next episode is going to be a previews episode. We were going to record this last week, but there were some issues with the studio, so we did not get a chance to. Eventually, we'll be recording our Book of the Month Club for DC The New Frontier, which you can hear us wax poetic on. But the most recent episode on there was a replay of an episode back from 2013 when Jamie D was still with us, and they went ahead and did a trivia episode with as many geeks as they could get into the room. And it's an awesome episode that if you have not listened to, you should go ahead and listen to. It's great stuff. So check my stuff out there at comicgeekspeak.com. And also we did our Best of 2019 Awards nomination show on episode 1762. So there we go with that. Guys, it has been a goddamn pleasure. I love marathon recording sessions, and maybe we'll try to do it in under 3 months next time, or our pizza will be free.
It depends on who gets fired next time.
Exactly.
I guess I'll talk to you guys in July then.
Yeah. Pencil it in. We'll still be talking about coronavirus.
I was saying, stay healthy.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the cancellation of San Diego Comic-Con by that time.
Yes.
Everybody just needs to get Lyme disease, since Lyme's always make coronas better.
Oh no! How long have you been sitting on that joke?
That was bad, man.
And yet he was too late. I heard that before.
And the email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com. Check us out at facebook.com/comictiming for more Facebook conversation and random links that we feel like posting. We're proud members of the Comics Podcast Network over at comicspodcast.com and the League of Comic Book Podcasts over at comicbooknoise.com/league. And for Casina, for Christopher, for Morgan Grant, And for Suhu, I'm Levinstein, reminding everybody out there that there's always time for comics, but we sure as hell are not timely.
Next question.
That's Marvel. Marvel's timely.
That should be our new motto going forward.
Boom.
Here's the thing that I found interesting over
Hold
the
on,
last
guys,
15
I
years.
lost
It's like-
you for a minute. Hold on 1 second.
Well, that wouldn't be a problem if you sign up for 5G. Check out AT&T's newest selection.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. Yeah, hold on.
The
why was-
millimeter wave band is so short. If you read Engadget, follow Chris and Ian, you would know that true 5G doesn't really exist out in the wild yet because the signal's not really strong enough to go through buildings, much less across 2 blocks.
I know.
Well, the other thing is, the 4G, there's still places that don't have 4G, so
Yeah.